had merely borrowed this splendid object to bolster his image. Nevertheless, that was of little consequence. The matter at hand was of paramount importance. With a decisive clap of his hands, Zhuo Tianhong's subordinates immediately understood the signal. The arrogant secretary, Chen Chongqing, who had previously dared to belittle Jiang Yuan and even attempted to forcibly take away the esteemed physician, was brought forth. Chen Chongqing now bore the marks of a brutal confrontation, his face swollen and battered, a stark contrast to his former prideful demeanor. Jiang Yuan, my young friend. This Chen Chongqing has overstepped his bounds and acted without discretion. Since he has offended you, I shall leave his fate in your capable hands. Zhuo Tianheng stated with a sincere smile. Chapter 168, Dual Top Rankings, belonging to Jiang Yuan. Jiang Yuan smiled faintly. A few days prior, when she had taken in the Gu sisters, their father was gravely ill and in dire need of a skilled physician. Yet, Chen Chongqing, without regard for the situation, insisted on whisking the doctor away, solely to curry favor with the healthy Zhuo Tianheng. Such a selfish and shameless individual, indifferent to the lives of others, was not someone Jiang Yuan would let slip away unscathed. However, as the saying goes, a crooked beam leads to a warped roof. Zhuo Tianheng himself was no paragon of virtue. The Tianjun group had a notorious reputation, and Jiang Yuan had heard much about it recently. Particularly concerning was their exploitation of their own compatriots, selling inferior goods to them while reserving the finest for foreign buyers, a blatant display of sycophancy towards the West. Devoid of dignity and integrity, Jiang Yuan chose to momentarily disregard Chen Chongqing and turned to Zhuo, stating coolly, Director, your intent in summoning me here is to discuss what, precisely? Zhuo Tianheng chuckled, a shrewd glint appearing in his eyes. He produced a power of attorney and presented it to Jiang Yuan. It's nothing of great consequence, merely a few individuals feeling aggrieved, believing I have wronged them, he said with a smile. However, given the capabilities of your law firm, I trust that dealing with these individuals will be a mere trifle. Jiang Yuan handed the document to Ouyang Ru, who examined it meticulously. Meanwhile, Jiang Yuan retrieved a fountain pen from his pocket, feigning readiness to sign. He toyed with the pen, flipping and twirling it with dexterity, as if it were an extension of his own hand. However, the secretary beside Zhuo Tianheng, upon noticing Jiang Yuan's pen, displayed a sudden shift in demeanor. Director Zhuo, that pen seems rather extraordinary, the secretary whispered. Zhuo Tianheng, intrigued, inquired, what makes a mere pen so remarkable? The secretary elaborated, that pen appears to be a century-old brand from Italy, Aurora. From a distance, its surface resembles white spider silk. But in truth, it is adorned with over 1,900 finely set diamonds. Only 4 of such pens exist in the world, making it exceedingly rare and precious. Hearing this, Zhuo Tianheng couldn't help but scrutinize the Aurora pen in Jiang Yuan's hand. Despite his age, he had been accustomed to a life of luxury, and his keen eye quickly discerned the pen's opulent design, seemingly encrusted with diamonds. How much might that be worth? He pondered aloud. The market value could be around 700 million, came the reply. At this, even Zhuo Tianheng gasped in astonishment. A signing pen purportedly worth 700 million was indeed preposterous. Such a notion was almost beyond belief, leaving even the chairman of Tianjun Group feeling a sense of absurdity. Though he could afford such a pen, the idea of spending 700 million on a single writing instrument was utterly ludicrous. With a newfound wariness, Zhuo Tianheng's gaze on Jiang Yuan grew sharper. The esteemed Jiang Yuan may possess an unimaginable depth of character. Otherwise, it would be utterly inconceivable for one to casually handle such an exorbitant fountain pen. Ouyang Ru swiftly concluded her review of the authorization letter and leaned down to whisper a few words into Jiang Yuan's ear. Upon hearing her, Jiang Yuan smiled at Zhuo Tianheng and nonchalantly tucked the pen into his pocket. Mr. Zhuo, we must decline to sign this authorization letter, Jiang Yuan stated directly. Zhuo Tianheng chuckled. My young friend Jiang Yuan, is there something amiss? We can certainly negotiate the remuneration further. Jiang Yuan crossed his arms and questioned, Mr. Zhuo, as a citizen of Longhua, do you not feel the slightest twinge of shame? Zhuo Tianheng's expression remained unchanged, though his eyelids twitched slightly as he retorted. Why do you say that, my young friend Jiang Yuan? Jiang Yuan cut to the chase. The individuals you intend to sue are merely ordinary entrepreneurs who wish to conduct legitimate business. Yet, in your pursuit of greater profits, you deliberately ingratiate yourself with wealthy foreigners at the expense of your own compatriots. Your audacity and shamelessness have certainly opened my eyes. Jiang Yuan's words resonated powerfully, rendering Zhuo Tianheng somewhat at a loss. The latter's countenance darkened slightly, for Jiang Yuan's boldness was truly excessive. Even though he held sway over the Carlo law firm, it did not grant him the right to be spoken to in such a manner. Just as he contemplated a more confrontational approach, his secretary interjected. "Chairman, there is a document here that you ought to review," the secretary said cautiously. Zhuo Tianheng felt a surge of irritation. He was in the midst of negotiations and did not wish to peruse any documents. However, when his gaze fell upon the materials presented by the secretary, his pupils constricted in surprise. The document contained a complete list of luxury cars and yachts. He himself owned several luxury vehicles and yachts, all occupying respectable positions. Yet, when his eyes darted to the top spot on the yacht list, he lost his composure entirely. The leading entry was the Golden Yacht, owned by Jiang Yuan. Notification: Shot points 1,000. This indicated that the Golden Yacht was not merely rented by Jiang Yuan, but truly belonged to him. This revelation escalated the situation significantly. Despite Zhuo Tianheng's efforts to treat Jiang Yuan with the utmost respect, even sacrificing his secretary Chen Chongqing to gain Jiang Yuan's favor, he now realized he had underestimated him. Jiang Yuan was indeed a man of considerable depth. As Zhuo Tianheng's gaze shifted once more, he experienced another wave of astonishment. Notification: Shot points 1,000. The top entry on the luxury car list read Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost, owned by Jiang Yuan. Zhuo Tianheng stared incredulously at Jiang Yuan. A Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost, such an exquisite luxury vehicle, also belonged to him? Zhuo Tianheng found it nearly impossible to accept. In other words, Jiang Yuan not only occupies the top position on the cruise rankings, but also holds the first place in the luxury car list. Two firsts? It is hard to believe that this luxurious cruise, coupled with the Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost, all belong to Jiang Yuan. How could the head of a law firm possibly possess such an abundance of extravagant assets? Who exactly is he? Chapter 169. 3 days. Zhuo Tianheng's expression fluctuated greatly. Throughout decades of navigating the complexities of Xiaqing, he had never feared formidable adversaries. However, encountering a figure as enigmatic as Jiang Yuan was an unprecedented experience for him. Particularly in light of the formidable power Jiang Yuan had inadvertently revealed, a sense of trepidation washed over him. With the information regarding the top contender now disclosed, Zhuo Tianheng felt compelled to exercise caution. After a moment of contemplation, Zhuo Tianheng ultimately conceded, stating, "Jiang Yuan, if you are unwilling to collaborate, I shall not impose. The choice is yours." Initially, his plan had included leveraging his hidden trump card should Jiang Yuan refuse to cooperate. Aware that Jiang Yuan hailed from Nanchang, he had sought out a prominent figure from that region. With a mere phone call, this influential individual could intervene, directly restraining Jiang Yuan. For anyone from Nanchang, the fear of such a powerful figure was universal. However, upon realizing Jiang Yuan's profound background, Zhuo Tianheng reconsidered his approach. Typically, if an ordinary individual dared to openly criticize his business, he would not hesitate to teach them a lesson. Yet, issuing a dismissal to Jiang Yuan was already an act of remarkable leniency and restraint. To his surprise, Jiang Yuan did not intend to depart. Instead, he wore an enigmatic smile. "Mr. Zhuo, I grant you 3 days to reorganize your affairs," Jiang Yuan stated calmly. "Otherwise, you shall bear the consequences." Zhuo Tianheng chuckled in disbelief. "You think you can intimidate me?" Jiang Yuan nodded resolutely. "Indeed, I can. I shall return here in 3 days. Should you remain obstinate, you will have only yourself to blame." With that, Jiang Yuan simply uttered his words and departed aboard the luxurious golden cruise ship with Ouyang Ru. Zhuo Tianheng's countenance shifted between various emotions, lost in thought, and no one dared approach him. He watched as the golden cruise ship sailed away, ultimately remaining silent. On board the golden cruise ship, Jiang Yuan savored the romantic sea view and the briny breeze, feeling immensely content. Ouyang Ru expressed her concern. "Jiang Yuan, Zhuo Tianheng is not to be trifled with. He has gained notoriety for his ruthless dealings in Xiaqing over many years." Jiang Yuan merely shook his head. "He is, after all, advanced in age. He will not act recklessly like a brash youth." Despite his reassurances, Ouyang Ru remained somewhat apprehensive. Nevertheless, Jiang Yuan's thoughts had shifted away from Zhuo Tianheng. Standing on the deck of the golden cruise ship, he observed the bustling city below, and a sudden inspiration struck him. One of the purposes of his visit to Xiaqing was to meet with a female artist from Tianqi Shengshi Media Company. However, unforeseen events had delayed his plans. He promptly dialed a number, reaching out to Yao Wenwen. "Please arrange for a vehicle. I need to visit Tianqi Shengshi." Yao Wenwen promptly responded, "Understood." Ouyang Ru, overhearing this conversation, cast a surprised glance at Jiang Yuan. What brings you to Tianqi Shengshi? She inquired curiously. That place is undoubtedly one of the most renowned media companies in Xiamen. My sister expended considerable effort to secure an internship opportunity there. Upon hearing this, Jiang Yuan chuckled. You have a sister, and she just happens to be interning at Tianqi Media? Ouyang Ru nodded and promptly introduced. Her name is Ouyang Qing. If you wish to pay a visit, I can ask her for assistance. Jiang Yuan, without revealing his identity as the ruler of Tianqi Shengshi, nodded with genuine interest. 15 minutes later, Jiang Yuan and Ouyang Ru boarded a vehicle heading to Tianqi Shengshi Media. Inside the car, Yao Wenwen appeared exuberant, exclaiming, Boss, I've heard there are many beautiful ladies there, and many of them are famous stars. Jiang Yuan affectionately ruffled her hair, wearing a slightly sympathetic expression, and replied, Are they merely a few female artists? Can't you display a more worldly demeanor? Upon hearing this, Yao Wenwen playfully huffed. I've heard that Tianqi Shengshi boasts the new generation of four-song queens, Tang Qinxin, Sun Yunji, Ouyang Shooting, and Zhou Yu. I'm a staunch fan of Sun Yunji. The mention of Sun Yunji piqued Jiang Yuan's interest. She is a rising star in the entertainment industry, having triumphed over numerous seasoned singers before the age of 20, swiftly ascending to become a highly sought-after top vocalist. Not only does Sun Yunji possess a voice seemingly kissed by angels, but her honed singing skills are also remarkably impressive. Moreover, her youthful vibrance at such a tender age exudes an undeniable charm. Most singers achieve fame post the age of 25. Yet Sun Yunji's vivacity shines even brighter when sharing the stage with her peers. However, after amassing a plethora of awards in recent years, it is rumored that she aspires to transition into acting. Jiang Yuan secretly anticipated the possibility of encountering this illustrious song queen. The vehicle soon arrived at the headquarters of Tianqi Shengshi Media. Ouyang Ru had already notified her sister Ouyang Qing by phone. As Jiang Yuan stepped out of the car, he spotted a girl strikingly similar to Ouyang Ru, albeit with a more youthful and innocent demeanor. Upon seeing her sister, Ouyang Qing rushed over to embrace her and whispered in her ear, Sister, this must be your boyfriend, right? I missed the gathering last time due to other commitments, but I've heard about him from Mom and Dad. As Ouyang Qing spoke, she discreetly assessed Jiang Yuan. With well-defined features, astonishing looks, and a tall, athletic build, he was undeniably a handsome young man. Even Ouyang Qing felt her cheeks flush and heart race as she gazed at him for a moment too long. Ouyang Ru, deeply connected with her sister, chose not to conceal the truth any longer, clarifying, Jiang Yuan is not my boyfriend. He is merely assisting me. Ouyang Ru initially believed her sister would feel a twinge of disappointment or surprise upon hearing this. To her surprise, upon hearing the news, Ouyang Qing looked at Jiang Yuan with a hint of delight. So you are not my brother-in-law. Ouyang Qing chuckled. Have you considered me instead? I'm much younger than my sister. Ouyang Qing boldly jested, her personality being far more carefree and spirited than Ouyang Ru's, exuding a somewhat tomboyish charm. Jiang Yuan recognized her playful banter and merely smiled in response. However, Ouyang Ru quickly grasped her sister's arm, whispering, Don't speak nonsense. Ouyang Qing stuck out her tongue and declared, If you wish to tour today, you have come to the right place. There is an audition gala, and from the audience seats, you may encounter numerous celebrities. Chapter 170. The goddess's audition. Upon hearing Ouyang Qing's words, Jiang Yuan's interest was piqued. He took Ouyang Ru and Yao Wenwen along, engaging in lively conversation and laughter. Soon, under Ouyang Qing's guidance, they entered the spacious audience area of a grand hall. Ouyang Qing continued to elaborate on the audition event. It was said that a well-known director, surnamed Chun, was intent on creating a romantic film. Director Chun had garnered substantial sponsorship from various acquaintances in the industry, fully prepared to invest a significant amount of resources into this ambitious project. He had enlisted over a dozen screenwriters, revising the script multiple times, and it took nearly 2 years to finalize it. To ensure the film's quality, he had recruited top-tier professionals for costumes, props, and makeup. Consequently, in selecting the female lead, Director Chun had specifically reached out to their company to organize this audition. Jiang Yuan couldn't help but smile at the revelation. A prominent director was indeed preparing to make a film, but had yet to select the female lead. Sun Yunji, without a doubt, was among the most competitive candidates for this role. Jiang Yuan had listened to several songs by this rising star, considering himself a half-hearted fan. Moreover, Sun Yunji's refreshing and exceptional beauty stood out in the chaotic entertainment industry, establishing her unique status. He wondered how she would perform after transitioning into acting and whether she could fulfill this role. as anticipation built within him regarding Sun Yunji's forthcoming performance. The stage in the center of the room was being meticulously prepared by the staff. The backdrop resembled a somewhat exquisite CF, suggesting that the audition scene might revolve around a dating theme. Auditions typically involve actors performing a test segment before the actual filming, serving as a means to select the most suitable candidates for the roles. Before long, four aspiring actresses emerged, quietly awaiting the director's arrival. Each of them possessed striking beauty, and their presence instantly illuminated the entire room. Among them was, of course, Sun Yunji. Yao Wenwen, upon spotting her idol, excitedly grasped Jiang Yuan's arm. "Boss, that's Sun Yunji, my ultimate idol." The other ladies seemed to be major stars as well. I've seen their faces in numerous films, though I don't know their names. Jiang Yuan rubbed his temples, feeling a bit overwhelmed by the enthusiastic chatter of the idol-struck women. However, when he glanced at Sun Yunji, he couldn't help but be momentarily taken aback. Despite his extensive experience with beautiful women and his belief in his own resilience against their allure, Sun Yunji's appearance that day was undeniably captivating, drawing the attention of every man in the room. It is not so much her revealing attire, but rather the adorable and demure student outfit she dons that radiates an aura of pure innocence and charm. What makes her even more captivating is that Sun Yunji possesses naturally enchanting features that exude a genuine allure. The simultaneous presence of purity and seduction in a single girl undeniably creates an irresistible magnetism. She wears a blue off-shoulder camisole paired with a white plaid skirt, perfectly showcasing her youthful spirit. This vibrant and lively demeanor epitomizes the vivacious essence of a playful young lady. As Jiang Yuan cast a sidelong glance, he noticed that many boys in the audience appeared somewhat entranced. "Miss Sun Yunji's beauty. I am intrigued. I've heard she is single. I wonder if I might have a chance." "Nonsense. How could someone like Sun Yunji ever notice you? Perhaps she has a preference for boys like me. I wonder who will be her partner in this scene." The leading man of this audition truly has the fortune of performing alongside such stunning women. I envy him. I too wish to share the stage with these goddesses, especially since today's script involves a romantic theme. The leading man is indeed a lucky fellow. At that moment, Director Chun finally arrived. With his white stubble and sharp gaze, he exudes an energetic presence despite his age, outpacing many younger individuals in vigor. However, he appeared somewhat irate at that moment. "What? The male actor we arranged cannot make it," citing an incident en route. Director Chun was furious. What are we to do now? Is this audition a complete waste? The staff felt anxious, perspiration evident on their brows as they observed Director Chun's notorious temper flaring. "Just wait a moment. The male actor should arrive shortly." Director Chun, lacking patience, waved his hand dismissively. "Since we are not officially filming yet, let us pull an audience member from the seats to perform instead. We can proceed as if he were here." Upon hearing this rather irritable suggestion from Director Chun, the staff grew anxious but lacked the courage to refuse his request. After all, they had all heard tales of his fierce temperament. Angering him could jeopardize the audition, for which they would bear significant responsibility. However, this placed them in a difficult position. Among the sea of spectators, there were quite a few young men, all of commendable appearance. After all, those invited to this audition were often professionals, particularly several handsome actors. Yet, they hesitated. Once a decision was made, it could not be altered, and selecting an unsuitable candidate could lead to disastrous consequences. Just then, Director Chun suddenly spoke up. He extended his hand, pointing towards Jiang Yuan's direction, and declared with satisfaction, "This young man's looks are quite suitable. Let him take on the role of the leading man for today's audition." He then instructed the staff, "Go and discuss with him. Ask if he would be willing to assist." Upon seeing Jiang Yuan's appearance, the staff instantly agreed that he was indeed a fitting choice. Thus, Jiang Yuan received an invitation to audition for the male lead. Beside him, Yao Wenwen could hardly contain her excitement, exclaiming, "Is the boss going to perform on stage? I am so looking forward to it." "Go for it, boss. You must give an outstanding performance." Ouyang Ru also gazed at Jiang Yuan with eager anticipation. An opportunity to share the stage with a top-tier female celebrity is indeed a rare gem. Jiang Yuan recognized the extraordinary nature of this once-in-a-lifetime chance. "Am I really going to audition?" Jiang Yuan pondered. He cast a glance at the four actresses auditioning and found the situation rather intriguing. Particularly after stealing a glance at Sun Yunji, he nodded in agreement. Chapter 171. This young man is extraordinary under the arrangements of the relevant staff. Jiang Yuan soon met Director Chun. Unfortunately, This renowned filmmaker had limited collaboration with Tianqi Shengshi Media and was not well acquainted with many internal matters. Consequently, he had no concept of Jiang Yuan's identity and merely perceived him as an ordinary spectator in the audience. Director Chen selected Jiang Yuan for two primary reasons. First, his striking appearance perfectly aligned with the image in Chen's mind. Second, there was an unusual aura about Jiang Yuan that could ignite the potential of female actors. When Jiang Yuan approached, Chen was further impressed by his features, delicate yet defined, with strikingly handsome features. Indeed, this young man was quite remarkable. A rare smile graced Director Chen's face, a first for the day, as he felt an undeniable affinity for Jiang Yuan, believing him to be perfectly suited for the audition. Jiang Yuan smiled slightly and inquired, "Since I'm assisting with the audition, will I have a script? What kind of role should I portray?" Director Chen explained, "No script is necessary. Just improvise as if this were a casual blind date. I wish to showcase a natural state that resonates with everyday life." Jiang Yuan nodded, considering it merely a simple task of acting as if on a date. The nearby staff members were astonished to witness the typically stern director Chen display such a gentle demeanor. They were taken aback, questioning what had caused this sudden change in his temperament. It was rumored that when Chen encountered someone of exceptional talent, he would temper his demeanor, revealing his softer side. This young man might indeed be extraordinary. Having collaborated with Chen multiple times, they had never seen him so approachable. Unbeknownst to him, Jiang Yuan had sparked considerable anticipation among the staff. Meanwhile, in the audience, sisters Yao Wenwen and Ouyang eagerly watched Jiang Yuan's performance on stage. "Go, brother Jiang. Perform excellently, boss." With calm assurance, Jiang Yuan ascended the stage and entered the CAF setting, taking a seat and quietly awaiting the actress's auditions. Despite performing before hundreds, he felt no trepidation. Jiang Yuan had long since evolved. Having faced numerous grand occasions, he had cultivated a remarkably composed heart. Performing spontaneously before hundreds, or even thousands, would not faze him. Among the four leading ladies auditioning that day, aside from Sun Yunj, a newly transitioned actress, the other three were seasoned veterans, all possessing striking figures and appearances. Following the order of seniority, Sun Yunj was to be the last to perform. The first to enter was a woman with an alluring figure and a healthy, sun-kissed complexion. Her silhouette was flawless, and as she walked, she exuded an enchanting grace that commanded attention. Her name is Jiang Nana, a renowned actress in her own right. Although her physique and beauty may not rival that of Sun Yunj, she still embodies the essence of a captivating beauty, scoring above 9.3 on the aesthetic scale. Years of dedication to fitness and yoga have sculpted her figure to near perfection, lending her an undeniable allure. In her gaze directed at Jiang Yuan, there lies an intriguing ferocity, a unique wildness that captivates. In the audience, Ouyang Qing sat alongside her sister, Ouyang Ru, and Yao Wenwen, all engrossed in discussions about Jiang Nana. As an insider, Ouyang Qing was privy to numerous behind-the-scenes details of this audition event. There were 4 exceptional actresses competing, each remarkable in her own right, resulting in fierce competition. Although the audition required improvisation without a script, there were indeed evaluative criteria in place. Just as she was about to divulge more, Ouyang Ru and Yao Wenwen's impatience grew, prompting them to nudge her insistently. Amidst their playful torment, Ouyang Qing finally exclaimed that if any actress could truly captivate Jiang Yuan's heart, her chances of winning would significantly increase. This revelation was not unfounded. Director Chen often acted in surprising yet reasonable ways. He believed that a charismatic leading lady was the true talent he sought. This charisma, he felt, must manifest in the presence of a man upon their first encounter to be deemed reliable. Thus, the actress who could garner Jiang Yuan's approval would emerge victorious in this audition. Jiang Nana, however, was no fool. She possessed her own network of connections and was well aware of Director Chen's intentions. Consequently, she regarded Jiang Yuan with the discerning gaze of a huntress, a subtle smirk gracing her lips. A seasoned star with millions of fans, she had countless admirers who had fallen at her feet. Although Jiang Yuan was undeniably handsome, his lack of fame rendered him inconsequential in her eyes. Having navigated the industry for years, Jiang Nana had grown accustomed to evaluating individuals based on their renown. Despite his admirable looks, Jiang Yuan's obscurity precluded his earning her respect or recognition. Yet, for the sake of this audition, she reluctantly resolved to allow him to play the role of a subordinate beneath her. With a tantalizing lick of her lips, she cast a dangerously alluring gaze and approached Jiang Yuan with an ethereal grace, exuding confidence akin to that of a predatory beast approaching its meal. Her commanding presence enveloped Jiang Yuan as she gracefully took a seat before him. If he were an ordinary man, he might have faltered under her assertive demeanor, becoming hesitant and timid. Nevertheless, Jiang Yuan remained unshaken, his composure as steadfast as a mountain, his eyes narrowing slightly as he regarded her with a smile. In that fleeting clash of energies, Jiang Nana sensed a subtle tightening within her, yet her smile only grew. Through their brief encounter, she discerned that Jiang Yuan was no mere commoner. However, the more formidable the prey, the more it ignites the competitive spirit of this huntress. After taking a seat, Jiang Nana casually swept her hair back. Soon, a playful smile graced her lips as she gathered her previously cascading locks to one side. Although it was merely a change in hairstyle, an undeniable allure radiated from her being, enhancing her feminine charm significantly. A captivating and enchanting scent gradually emanated from her. Gulp! In the audience, many men, upon witnessing Jiang Nana's enchanting appearance, found themselves swallowing hard. Yet, Jiang Yuan remained unfazed. His fingers interlaced as he confidently offered a slight smile. Pleasure to meet you. My name is Jiang Yuan. Chapter 172. This young man is quite extraordinary. Jiang Nana gently caressed her hair, a captivating smile gradually gracing her face. I am Jiang Nana, introduced by Aunt Qin. Have you been waiting long? Jiang Yuan shook his head. Not for long. I just arrived as well. The two quickly immersed themselves in their roles, seamlessly entering the moment. Jiang Nana cooperatively followed the procedure, picking up the menu provided by the CAF to peruse. I've heard that the language of chamomile symbolizes vitality. I think I shall order a cup of chamomile tea, she declared. Jiang Yuan nodded and reached for the menu. However, as Jiang Nana submitted the order, she leaned closer to his ear, her voice laced with suggestive undertones. Chamomile also conveys a message of gifting oneself to a secret crush. Would you offer it to me? This was a blatant flirtation, yet Jiang Yuan remained unfazed, merely retrieving his fountain pen to doodle on the menu. The moment he produced his pen, it instantly drew the attention of many onlookers outside. Look, that fountain pen appears quite extravagant. Goodness, are those diamonds? My, how wealthy must he be? This person is quite the tycoon. A wealthy daddy. May I befriend you? The handsome young man carried such an item with him. Who could he be? A second-generation rich heir. Perhaps? Jiang Nana was momentarily taken aback. What kind of fountain pen is that? Jiang Yuan glanced down, realizing he held an Aurora diamond pen. Upon closer inspection, one could discern thousands of tiny diamonds adorning it, exuding opulence. Its value soared to approximately 700 million, an exorbitant sum indeed. It's merely a decorative item. Just a toy, really, not worth much. No need to fuss over it, he casually remarked. Upon hearing this, many outside collectively exhaled in relief. So it was just a toy after all. If those diamonds were genuine, it would be nothing short of an astronomical luxury. While many accepted Jiang Yuan's explanation, Jiang Nana understood the matter was far more intricate. As an actress of some renown, she was no stranger to the world of luxury. She had encountered similar extravagant items and counterfeit goods. Her experience is quite remarkable. Deep down, she was certain that Jiang Yuan's fountain pen was extraordinary, undoubtedly a treasure of immense value. Those diamonds were certainly not imitations, and yet he referred to it as a toy. This was clearly an attempt to mislead me. Intrigued, Jiang Nana felt a surge of curiosity towards Jiang Yuan. A man capable of carrying such an item must be an exceptionally valuable catch. As a seasoned hunter, she almost let this opportunity slip away. With a flicker of inspiration, she resolved to employ her true skills to charm Jiang Yuan, perhaps leading to unexpected rewards. She intentionally swept her hair aside, revealing her ear and neck towards him. The graceful neck and ears of the young lady lay bare before the young man, an exquisite sight beyond compare. At that moment, Jiang Nana had deliberately styled her hair into a bun, a choice that added a striking contrast, instantly capturing the hearts of many young men present. As the coffee arrived, she gently pressed her lips against the straw, revealing a slightly alluring and charming expression as she gazed at Jiang Yuan. This flirtatious maneuver elicited admiration from the audience, who marveled at her prowess in the art of seduction. She truly knows how to captivate, they exclaimed. Jiang Nana's skills in alluring men are unparalleled. Just look at her textbook approach. Any ordinary man would surely be entranced beneath her charming allure. Even from a distance, we can hardly resist her charm. One can only imagine how that young man feels up close. To everyone's surprise, despite Jiang Nana's remarkable flirtation techniques, even the most sophisticated of competitors paled in comparison. Yet, Jiang Yuan remained as steadfast as a mountain, unyielding and composed, showing no signs of being affected. Observing his calm demeanor, Jiang Nana felt a twinge of disappointment. Jiang Yuan, where do you usually reside? She inquired. I've heard that one's living environment greatly influences their character. Those who live near the sea tend to be more open-minded, while those near the mountains often possess sharper intellect. After a moment's contemplation, Jiang Yuan decided to respond candidly. I reside in a Wangfu. What do you think of someone like me? The moment he uttered those words, a wave of disbelief swept through the audience, with many men scoffing at his claim. Is he serious? Living in a Wangfu? They murmured. No worries, it's just for show. After all, this is merely an audition. But to claim he lives in a Wangfu is a bit much. In Xiamen, there are only a few Wangfus, each worth billions. Everyone, remain calm. He's just playing along with the production team for entertainment value. There's no need to take it too seriously. Even the Ouyang sisters felt Jiang Yuan had crossed a line with his jest. The Wangfu held cherished memories for many, and his claim of it being his home seemed rather audacious. Yet, only Yao Wenwen knew that Jiang Yuan was not jesting. The Wangfu indeed belonged to him now, having been renamed Yuan Wangfu. However, she found little motivation to elaborate on his circumstances, knowing full well that no one would believe her. Jiang Nana was momentarily taken aback. She had merely intended to spark a light conversation to avoid an awkward silence. However, she did not anticipate Jiang Yuan's unconventional response. Living in a Wangfu? My goodness, that is quite a bold statement. You speak so brazenly that I hardly know how to respond. Jiang Nana found her rhythm abruptly disrupted by Jiang Yuan, and she could only stammer slightly as she insisted. That means you might be quite wealthy. The moment those words escaped her lips, even she realized the futility of her statement. If Jiang Yuan truly resided in the royal mansion, it was evident he was affluent. There was no need for her to articulate it. However, upon hearing her words, Jiang Yuan surprisingly nodded earnestly. I believe you have a valid point. Jiang Nana bit her lower lip in frustration, sensing that her confrontation with Jiang Yuan had completely shifted in his favor. Initially, she had regarded him with disdain, confident in her ability to easily best him. Yet now, it seemed Jiang Yuan resembled an unfathomable ocean, and her attempts to confront him were like futile splashes against its vastness. Chapter 173. This young man is remarkable, alas. I underestimated this charming young man. Jiang Nana couldn't help but feel a twinge of regret. Initially, she believed he was merely an ordinary passerby, but it seemed he was far from simple. She had been careless. Yet, just as Jiang Nana began to reflect on her arrogance, time quietly slipped away, moment by moment. Although this event was labeled as an audition, designed to showcase everyone's talents, the reality was that the time allotted for each participant was exceedingly limited. Every minute and second was immensely precious. In the blink of an eye, only a few minutes remained for Jiang Nana's audition. So far, her performance had certainly captured the hearts of many male spectators. Yet Jiang Yuan remained steadfastly unmoved. At this rate, she was bound to face elimination, ending up as a failure. A sense of urgency began to stir within her. Reluctantly, Jiang Nana bit her lip and hastened her pace. Jiang Yuan, what kind of girl do you envision as your ideal partner? Jiang Nana suddenly inquired. Is she gentle and gracious, or perhaps sweet and adorable? The question momentarily plunged Jiang Yuan into contemplation. What did he truly desire in an ideal girlfriend? He had never pondered this before, and a parade of memories surged forth. His first love, Sun Tingting, and his most recent girlfriend, Su Qingyu, flashed before his mind like a fleeting panorama. This question from Jiang Nana sparked curiosity among many women present. In the audience, Ouyang Ru watched Jiang Yuan's face intently, eagerly awaiting his response. Meanwhile, Yao Wenwen gently covered her mouth, a smile dancing in her eyes as she regarded him. Jiang Yuan rested his hand thoughtfully on his chin, appearing deep in thought. Women at 16 may be attracted to youthful, handsome boys, while by 36, they might prefer affluent older men. However, men tend to be quite devoted. At 16, a man is drawn to young and beautiful girls, and at 36, he still favors the same. Yet to answer truthfully, admitting a preference for young and beautiful girls could come across as shallow and lacking depth. After a moment of hesitation and inner turmoil, Jiang Yuan ultimately resolved to confront his own feelings and replied candidly, "To be honest, I like young and beautiful girls." With that forthright response, Jiang Nana nearly stumbled, nearly falling on the spot. The audience erupted into a commotion, many taken aback, while others appreciated Jiang Yuan's honesty. This young man was remarkably bold, voicing the sentiments of his male peers. Yet, such candor comes at a price. Could such an answer be deemed inappropriate or lacking in decorum? What do you all know? Let me analyze this for you. Jiang Nana deliberately posed this question. It was clearly a setup, a trap. If the young man had candidly revealed his ideal type, he would certainly have fallen into Jiang Nana's trap. For instance, if he had expressed a preference for demure and adorable individuals, Jiang Nana could have countered by stating that those around her often made similar observations. This young man employed a strategy of retreating to advance. His response would merely lead others to perceive it as jest, thus evading Jiang Nana's advances. Remarkably astute, this young man exhibited a profound depth, seemingly unremarkable yet skillfully deflecting Jiang Nana's tactics. Jiang Nana, too, displayed a glimmer of dissatisfaction. She never anticipated that Jiang Yuan would deviate from conventional responses and provide such an answer. Her original strategy allowed her to counter any reply he might offer, except for this refreshingly honest one, which left her speechless. "I concede," Jiang Nana murmured, her head slightly bowed, reflecting a sense of disappointment. At that moment, the time had come. Director Chen observed her and shook his head, remarking that she perhaps wasn't the right fit. Jiang Nana, defeated, departed the stage with a heavy heart. Yet before leaving, she turned to Jiang Yuan and said, "You're quite impressive. Did you see through my ruse, which prompted such a deliberate response?" Jiang Yuan remained silent. In truth, he was merely an ordinary individual responding honestly. However, he seemed to have been misinterpreted by Jiang Nana, who believed he was employing a strategy of adapting to any situation. If Jiang Nana were to discover his true thoughts, she might be infuriated. Furthermore, Jiang Yuan felt that revealing his genuine feelings might be somewhat embarrassing, hence his reticence in speaking with Jiang Nana. Nevertheless, his silence only solidified Jiang Nana's conviction that he was indeed a master strategist. After Jiang Nana's somber exit from the stage, she randomly selected a seat among the vast audience. Her eyes brimmed with a sense of unfulfilled ambition. This casting audition for the lead role was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Regardless of Director Chen's team's formidable capabilities, the substantial investments made by the stakeholders ensured that this production would be extraordinary. Yet, she had squandered her chance due to a moment of carelessness. Following Jiang Nana's audition, the next contestant was an actress named Su Qingge, the eldest among the 4 girls at the age of 29. At this age, she was certainly old enough for Jiang Yuan to address her as sister. Her appearance undeniably echoed that of an elder sister, with her red-framed glasses, sleek short hair, piercing and spirited eyes, complemented by a professional outfit. She embodied the essence of a captivating older sister. Upon seeing this woman, Jiang Nana's expression was filled with apprehension. Despite being the eldest, her beauty was in no way inferior to that of the younger contestants. Some women, under the gentle caress of time, resemble perfectly ripened peaches, exuding a sweetness and succulence that is utterly irresistible. Moreover, the most pivotal aspect is that Su Qingge's identity transcends that of a mere actress. While pursuing her artistic career, she has also invested her resources into establishing herself as a formidable businesswoman, presiding over a company of considerable stature. In other words, she is the president of a thriving enterprise. Her years in the acting profession have afforded her not only substantial financial resources, but also an extensive network of connections, both of which serve as catalysts for her company's flourishing success. Su Qingge is not merely an artist. She embodies the essence of a female executive and a wealthy entrepreneur. It can be asserted that she is among the most affluent candidates at today's audition gathering. Furthermore, Jiang Yuan's casual remark about his preference for young, beautiful women undoubtedly struck a chord within her. Su Qingge's most significant vulnerability lies in her age of 29, and Jiang Yuan's inadvertent comment nearly breached her defenses. Chapter 174. This young man is remarkably impressive. Jiang Yuan himself did not anticipate that his casual remark would wield such formidable impact. Women place paramount importance on youth and beauty. Although Su Qingge has diligently pursued her career with resounding success and amassed considerable wealth, her Achilles heel lies in her age of 29. At this stage of life, being merely a year shy of 30 looms as a significant threat to most women. An inadvertent comment from Jiang Yuan nearly shattered her composure on the spot. However, after taking several deep breaths, Su Qingge managed to regain her emotional equilibrium. She was acutely aware of her priorities and understood what needed to be done at that moment. Yet, she had resolutely decided to assert her dominance over Jiang Yuan. Once Jiang Nana retreated to the audience, Su Qingge ascended the stage with an air of authority. Her presence, however, was starkly different from that of Jiang Nana. If Jiang Nana, with her sun-kissed skin, resembled a lithe and wild leopard. Su Qingge embodied the essence of a formidable huntress wielding a rifle. Approaching Jiang Yuan, she did not even spare him a glance. Casually, she seated herself, her right leg elegantly resting upon her left thigh. "You're Jiang Yuan, as introduced by Aunt Qin, correct? Pray, enlighten me about your profession and income," she inquired coolly. "I am a courier, earning a monthly salary of 3,000, Jiang Yuan replied. "Clap, clap, clap." Su Qingge gently applauded. "Not bad, a promising career. However, I presently have an even more lucrative opportunity for you. Are you interested?" Jiang Yuan, playing along, asked. "Do tell. What is this profession?" From her pocket, Su Qingge produced a car key, a black card, and a property deed. The key belonged to a Ferrari 812. The black card was a prestigious VIP banking card, containing a sum of 10 million in cash. The property deed was for a villa in Minghu district. "Should you agree to be my domestic partner, cooking and cleaning for me for life, you may claim these 3 items immediately." A collective gasp echoed through the audience. The tactics of the domineering female CEO were indeed extraordinary, simple, blunt, and directly wielding financial power with ferocity and precision. This maneuver was nothing short of a monetary assault, impressively audacious. Even Director Chun, observing from the sidelines, could not help but smile wryly, acknowledging her undeniable allure. Su Qingge raised her proud and noble gaze, casting a nonchalant glance at Jiang Yuan. "So what say you? Will you accept?" She was well aware that Jiang Yuan relished unpredictability. Therefore, she reciprocated in kind, choosing to tread an unconventional path. Moreover, Jiang Yuan had boasted of residing in a royal mansion, suggesting that he possessed a notably arrogant disposition. Su Qingge had ample experience in dealing with such individuals. The optimal approach is to directly vanquish one's opponent in their area of expertise. If they wish to boast of their wealth, then one should, with even greater affluence, humiliate them and subsequently conquer. However, in the audience, Yao Wenwen erupted into laughter. Ouyang Ru cast a curious glance her way and inquired, "What is so amusing?" Yao Wenwen waved her hand dismissively, a lingering smile gracing her features. "It's nothing. You will understand shortly." This domineering female CEO intended to flaunt her wealth before her boss, attempting to defeat him from this angle. She might as well be brandishing a sword before Guangong, displaying her skills inappropriately. What followed surely promised to be entertaining. Indeed, when Jiang Yuan beheld the 3 items laid before him, even his typically affable demeanor faltered. The familiarity of the formula and the taste were striking. Once, he had longed for a wealthy patron to see through his facade of strength and expose his vulnerability. At that time, he believed it a great fortune to be showered with money by such a patron. However, times had changed. Having experienced the thrill of wealth being thrown at others, he now found the prospect of being similarly showered with money by a wealthy woman quite infuriating. "No." Jiang Yuan coldly rolled up his sleeve, revealing a smart bracelet on his wrist. A Ferrari 812? Did he think this was some remarkable luxury vehicle? He detached the smart bracelet from his wrist and casually tossed it before Su Qingge. The formerly imperious Su Qingge's eyes widened in disbelief upon seeing the smart bracelet. As if unable to fathom what she was witnessing, she picked it up for a closer inspection, her astonishment growing with each passing moment. Her face increasingly reflected a profound incredulity. In the audience, nearly every spectator wore a puzzled expression, perplexed by Su Qingge's reaction. What was so special about that bracelet? Just look at her expression. It's as if she could swallow a pigeon egg whole. What had she seen that warranted such astonishment? The casting call also attracted many discerning individuals, some of whom immediately recognized the smart bracelet Jiang Yuan had produced. They gasped, exclaiming, "That smart bracelet resembles the key to a Hennessy Venom GT." "Hennessy what? What is that? You've never heard of it? This is a supercar, limited to just 10 units globally, touted as the most powerful conceptual supercar, with no production model and an exceedingly rare quantity. The key to such a top-tier luxury vehicle employs cutting-edge technology, taking the form of a smart bracelet. Have you heard of the recent luxury car rankings? This vehicle ranks among the top 3 supercars. How does it compare to the Ferrari 812? The Ferrari 812 is merely a worthless trinket, unworthy of comparison to the Hennessy Venom GT. Have you ever witnessed someone pit the village's most exquisite flower against the most beautiful belle of the university? There exists no semblance of comparability. The imperious CEO, Su Qingge, took hold of Jiang Yuan's car keys. Her hands, as pure as jade, trembled slightly. Her haughty demeanor was instantly subdued by a significant degree. This was a Hennessy Venom GT, even with the wealth she had painstakingly amassed over the years. She would never dare to dream of possessing such a luxurious vehicle. Yet, Jiang Yuan casually tossed her the keys to this magnificent car. She felt as though her worldview had been utterly overturned, leaving her in a state of stunned disbelief. Chapter 175. The Supreme Dragon Card, the Hennessy Venom GT. While not quite on par with Jiang Yuan's Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost, nonetheless eclipses many luxury vehicles in terms of price. It far surpasses the likes of the Lamborghini Huracan or the Ferrari 812, which pale in comparison to the Hennessy Venom GT. When purely evaluated by its cost, the price of the Hennessy Venom GT is indeed several times that of these ordinary luxury cars. This magnificent vehicle was the prize Jiang Yuan had drawn that fateful night. However, due to his overwhelming fatigue, he had paid little attention to such relatively mundane items at the time. With the increase in his assets, Jiang Yuan had come to regard the Hennessy Venom GT, considered a luxury car in the eyes of the average person, as merely an ordinary possession. Yet, for an everyday individual, the key to such a luxury car undoubtedly symbolizes a profound shock. Suchinga swallowed hard, her mind racing. It was inconceivable that he could possess a Hennessy Venom GT. Wait, this is merely a car key. I have yet to see the actual vehicle. Suddenly, realization struck her. What Jiang Yuan had produced was, after all, just a key. The car itself had not made an appearance. Could it be that he only possessed this key? Perhaps he was deliberately teasing her with it, attempting to deceive her. The more she pondered, the more plausible this seemed. From the earlier contest of wits between Jiang Yuan and Jiang Nana, it was evident that Jiang Yuan was a cunning strategist, adept at unconventional tactics. If she were not careful, she could easily fall into his trap. Suchinga took several deep breaths, striving to regain her composure. That was close. She nearly allowed a mere key to ensnare her. She regarded Jiang Yuan warily, aware that this charming young man was not to be underestimated. Yet, the more she observed him, the more her thoughts strayed from their original path. With each glance, she found his appearance increasingly striking. His arched brows and piercing eyes, coupled with a noble profile, complemented his thick, ebony hair. He seemed to have stepped straight out of a poetic painting, a veritable paragon of male beauty. No, this is not the time for such distractions. Suchinga shook her head vigorously, attempting to dispel her thoughts. Time was of the essence. Just as her mind wandered, Jiang Yuan casually retrieved a card from his person. It was a rose gold card, adorned with opulent engravings. With his index and middle fingers pressed together, he effortlessly tossed the card onto the table before him. A faint smile graced his lips as he rested his hands behind his neck, observing the wealthy woman across from him with keen interest. The rose gold card appeared vaguely familiar to Suchinga, yet she could not quite place it. For reasons unknown, the mere sight of this card sent her heart racing, a wave of tension rising from the depths of her being. The sound of her heart pounding resounded clearly in her ears. What on earth is this card? Why does it instill such unease in my heart? Suchinga felt a jolt within. I must have seen this card somewhere before, yet I cannot recall. Just as Suchinga's heart was engulfed in uncertainty, Director Chen cast a glance at the rose gold card and found himself utterly unable to divert his gaze. He fixated intensely on the card held between Jiang Yuan's fingertips, as if attempting to see through it entirely. It is, this card. Director Chen muttered, somewhat dazed. He instinctively felt as though he could scarcely breathe. It felt as if a colossal stone were pressing upon his chest, imparting an overwhelming pressure. Who on earth is this young man? I merely plucked someone from the audience at random, and yet he turns out to be a significant figure. Director Chen murmured. The surrounding staff members observed his uncharacteristic demeanor, their expressions rife with confusion. Why does Director Chen appear so unsettled? It is merely a card. His reaction seems excessively dramatic. Having followed him for years, this is the first time they have witnessed such an expression. Do you think this card could be something extraordinary? I have never encountered such a card, nor have I heard of any particular significance surrounding rose gold cards. Although puzzled, Chen's loyal subordinates were acutely aware of his notorious temper. They knew that any hasty inquiries at this juncture would yield no answers, only incite his ire. Yet, as they watched Director Chen's growing agitation, they couldn't help but glance at Jiang Yuan. Their curiosity piqued regarding the truth of this card. This audition event was indeed a lavish affair, as Tianqi Shengshi Media had spared no expense in inviting numerous industry luminaries to observe from the audience. Thus, within the expansive audience, there were certainly several distinguished figures of remarkable insight. When Jiang Yuan presented this rose gold card, it immediately provoked a chorus of gasps. The rose gold hue, its unique texture, could it be the Supreme Dragon card? The Supreme Dragon card? The card issued by the Dragon Country Bank. of which no more than 5 exist. It is a supreme level card that surpasses even the black card by several tiers. I had long heard of such a card and had always aspired to leverage connections to acquire one. However, everyone insists that it is virtually impossible to obtain one independently. Naturally, the Supreme Dragon card is bestowed only upon those personally chosen by the Dragon Country Bank, granting them the highest honor. Each individual who possesses a Supreme Dragon card is a prominent figure within their province or city, a paragon among billionaires. Recognized and esteemed by the Dragon Country Bank as a superlative entity, the issuance of such dragon cards is exceedingly rare. Each recipient of the Supreme Dragon card must possess unique qualities, signifying their status as a top-tier magnate. With the emergence of this Supreme Dragon card in Jiang Yuan's hand, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. The atmosphere suddenly erupted with excitement. The ambience gradually intensified. Initially, the prominent figures in attendance were merely seeking amusement, anticipating nothing more than a glimpse of some celebrity's impromptu performance. However, to their astonishment, a mysterious and dashing young man emerged, revealing the illustrious Supreme Dragon card. Their interest was instantly ignited. Curiosity regarding Jiang Yuan's identity surged among the crowd. Could he be the son of a formidable tycoon, perhaps receiving this coveted card as a gift from his father? It is also plausible that he might be a relative of an influential magnate, cherished enough to borrow the Supreme Dragon card. Given its remarkable rarity and value, would a distinguished figure truly allow a child to play with such a treasure? It remains uncertain. Perhaps this charming young man is indeed favored beyond measure. Chapter 176. The astonishing dominant heiress the moment Jiang Yuan casually produced a rose gold card. It incited a considerable uproar. Previously, Su Qingge had showcased a black card, a privilege reserved for the affluent who possess substantial banking assets. To the average individual, a black card indeed carries an air of astonishment. However, such a card pales in comparison to the supreme allure of the rose gold dragon card. It is akin to a local tyrant in a small county encountering a formidable overlord from a grand metropolis, inevitably bowing in submission. While Su Qingge's display of the black card may have appeared grand and imposing to onlookers, it swiftly dimmed in comparison to Jiang Yuan's illustrious dragon card. The light of a firefly cannot contend with the brilliance of the full moon. Although Su Qingge did not recognize the significance of the dragon card, she caught a glimpse of the reactions from the distinguished individuals in the audience. She was aware that many influential figures were present, such as the rotund, balding middle-aged man seated prominently, known in industry circles as Mr. Su. He is a renowned advertising mogul and shaman. Anyone in the advertising realm who is unfamiliar with Mr. Su might as well be told to abandon their aspirations. The man who sought to trouble Jiang Yuan, Zhao Juanhe, earned his title as the king of advertising due to his ownership of several well-known advertising firms. Yet before Mr. Su, Zhao Juanhe was hardly worthy of even carrying his shoes. Should he have the fortune to dine with Mr. Su, he would undoubtedly lower his glass by 3 inches when toasting him. Next to Mr. Su sat an older gentleman with graying hair, a titan in the e-commerce sector of Xiamen. Every online transaction must pass through his logistics company, which firmly controls the lifeblood of e-commerce. His wealth is comparable to that of any other magnate present. Beside him was a portly, amiable middle-aged woman, the vice chairperson of 13 high-tech companies in Xiamen, wielding immense power and untold riches. Yet, the expressions on the faces of these magnates were nothing short of captivating. Some were wide-eyed in disbelief, others gasped in astonishment, while a few openly displayed avaricious glances toward Jiang Yuan's dragon card. Clearly, the rose gold card in Jiang Yuan's possession had thoroughly unsettled these titans. The holders of such supreme dragon cards are exceedingly rare throughout the vast realm of Longhua. Could this young man be a relative of one such holder? It would be unwise to underestimate him. Indeed, even if this young man is not the direct possessor of the dragon card, he is far from insignificant. Establishing a rapport with him would be tantamount to befriending a top-tier overlord capable of wielding a supreme dragon card. As snippets of conversation regarding these powerful figures reached Jiang Yuan's ears, he absorbed the weight of the moment. Su Qingge was utterly unsettled, feeling as though she were wielding a grand sword before the illustrious Guangong, utterly outmatched. Initially, she had intended to brandish her possessions and strike them directly upon Jiang Yuan's face, hoping to subdue him with her boldness. However, upon producing the key to her opulent Ferrari 812, he promptly retaliated with a Hennessy Venom GT, a vehicle whose value far surpassed her own by several magnitudes. A true tit-for-tat that magnified the disparity between them. When she presented her black card, which housed an exorbitant amount of cash, Jiang Yuan unfurled a mysterious rose gold card before her. Even the numerous titans present were rendered speechless, their expressions betraying profound astonishment upon beholding this card. Su Qingge felt akin to a jester, futilely attempting to challenge a force far beyond her grasp. She and Jiang Yuan were from entirely different realms, one ascendant and the other terrestrial. The chasm in their tangible capabilities was so vast that it rendered any comparison utterly futile. In that moment, Su Qingge found her words faltering, struggling to articulate her thoughts. Could this card possibly be several tiers above my black card? If so, how could Jiang Yuan possess such a rare treasure? Was he truly of the same caliber as the magnates seated in the audience? Just as she felt her composure slipping, yearning to voice her thoughts, Jiang Yuan seized the moment. He retrieved an electronic ID card from his pocket, akin to a key to the source Wangfu. Only those holding this electronic ID card were granted entry into Jiang Yuan's royal estate, thus publicly affirming his ownership of the Wangfu. The revelation sent shockwaves through the gathering. He had not merely boasted, he truly owned the Wangfu. The sheer magnitude of wealth required to acquire such an estate was staggering. Though possessing wealth was indeed impressive, wasn't that territory coveted by the Yi family? How could he dare to purchase it? Whispers circulated about a recent individual who had humbled the Yi family. Could he possibly be linked to that person? In truth, the ownership of the Wangfu had long been a subject of contention. It was a coveted residence. And who among the citizens of the Dragon Kingdom would not wish to experience the splendor of living therein? Regrettably, the Wangfu had long been the object of desire for Yi Rongtian, the eldest scion of the Yi family, who had declared his intent to claim it. However, due to his obligations to assume control of the family business, his father had restricted him from utilizing excessive funds, thus delaying his plans to acquire the Wangfu. The audacity of the individual who dared to purchase this estate could only suggest a fearless stance against the Yi family. Indeed, the act of acquiring the Wangfu could be interpreted as a bold statement against them. Recalling the previous plunge in the stock price of the Yi family, the gaze of all the eminent figures present suddenly converged upon Jiang Yuan. In that instant, they finally realized that Jiang Yuan's prowess might indeed far exceed their wildest imaginations. Chapter 177. Yixia. It is widely acknowledged that the modern, unique villa known as the Source Wangfu operates distinctly from ordinary estates. The sole method of identity verification has been upgraded to the latest iris recognition technology. The electronic ID card serves as a supplementary assurance for entering and exiting the Source Wangfu. When Jiang Yuan produced this electronic ID card, it signified unequivocally the acknowledgement of the villa's ownership. Jiang Yuan had effectively usurped the residence coveted by the legitimate heir of the Yi family. The plummeting stock prices of the Yi family unmistakably placed Jiang Yuan under the most suspicion. Otherwise, given Yi Rongtian's temperament, he would have already sought vengeance against Jiang Yuan. Could it be that this young man truly disrupted the Yi family's affairs? The Yi family, notorious for their arrogance, has indeed offended many over the years. Yet none have been able to contend with them, except for this relatively obscure young man. What was his name again? Jiang Yuan, a rather unfamiliar name. From whence did he hail? His voice certainly did not bear the characteristics of a local from Xiqing. As the crowd began to realize the inextricable link between Jiang Yuan and the Yi family stock decline, a fervent curiosity regarding his origins and identity surged among them. The once imposing and assertive Su Qingge, the wealthy female CEO who had insisted on reducing Jiang Yuan to a mere house husband devoid of dignity, now appeared as a nervous figure, her large eyes wide with anxiety, trembling in fear. Though Su Qingge possessed wealth, it was merely comparative to the average person. In the grand scheme of Xiqing, she was, at best, a mere silver tier. Yet Jiang Yuan? Undoubtedly, he was a titan of unparalleled stature. Reflecting on her earlier facade of indifference when she had carelessly tossed her car keys, property deed, and bank card to Jiang Yuan, Su Qingge was left with nothing but regret. What was I thinking, pretending to be someone I am not? The collision between a mere silver tier and a formidable titan was glaringly evident. Just as her anxiety mounted, Director Chen glanced at his phone and announced, "Time's up. Su Qingge's audition is over." A wave of relief washed over her. Although she recognized her audition had essentially been a failure, it was preferable to confronting the immense pressure Jiang Yuan exuded. Death manifests in both social and physiological forms, and Su Qingge, too, was concerned about her dignity. To persist in displaying her trepidation would be utterly humiliating, akin to social demise. Dismissing herself from the stage, she quietly seated herself beside Jiang Nana, remaining silent. Jiang Nana cast a sympathetic glance her way, slightly shifting to make room. The two women, both feeling like displaced souls, found a semblance of camaraderie in their shared plight. Initially, they had both perceived Jiang Yuan's abilities as mediocre, believing they could easily belittle him. However, the reality struck them. The true fool was, in fact, themselves. Those of truly mediocre abilities are, ironically, themselves. Should Jiang Yuan wish to deal with them, it would be as effortless as a mere flick of a finger. Their actions undoubtedly resemble reckless provocation before a tiger, an exceedingly perilous endeavor. The two opened their mouths, instinctively yearning to utter something, yet ultimately opted to obediently press their crimson lips together. Living beings can articulate thoughts, but the two, having suffered social demise, possessed no inclination to speak. They remained silent, their gaze fixed on the unfolding audition. The next actress to audition bore the surname Yi, named Yi Xia. Coincidentally, Yi Xia was intricately linked to the Yi family. However, due to her familial circumstances, her personal freedom had long been tightly controlled by the Yi family. Deep within, she harbored nothing but resentment towards them. Thus, she felt immense gratitude towards the formidable individual who had struck a blow against the Yi family. Now, with Jiang Yuan seemingly being that disruptor, she could not help but feel a sense of appreciation for him. Jiang Yuan lounged with one leg crossed over the other, observing a young woman approximately 24 years of age seated before him. She wore a white blouse atop a black bodycon skirt, her long, straight hair cascading to one side, and her delicate nose exuded a charming innocence characteristic of Eastern women. What stirred Jiang Yuan's heart was Yi Xia's round face, which possessed an endearing quality, complemented by an aura of a charming neighborly girl. Her porcelain skin, illuminated by the light, shimmered with a subtle radiance, reminiscent of a delicate porcelain doll imbued with a playful essence. Such a delightful girl. If one were to strike her in the face, she would likely weep pitifully for half the day. Perhaps teasing her could prove quite amusing. Yi Xia's neighborly charm inevitably brought to mind Jiang Yuan's first love, Sun Tingting. That summer, she too radiated an appealing innocence, which led to their initial romance. As Jiang Yuan gazed at Yi Xia, a mischievous impulse welled up within him. Yet, as soon as she settled in front of him, she could not help but fixate her gaze upon him. Jiang Yuan, intrigued, inquired, "Little sister, you have yet to introduce yourself. What is your name, and why do you keep staring at my face?" As his words resonated, many audience members turned their curious eyes towards Yi Xia. With a soft gasp, her face flushed a deep crimson, akin to a rosy apple, and her eyes glimmered with a misty allure, rendering her irresistibly endearing. Jiang Yuan found it utterly charming how easily such a gentle creature could be brought to tears with a mere tease. How entertaining she was. Despite her rosy cheeks, Yi Xia managed a soft retort, her voice as faint as a whisper. "If you weren't looking at me, how would you know I was looking at you?" A hint of defiance. This piqued Jiang Yuan's interest even further. He rose gracefully and took a seat beside Yi Xia with casual elegance. Subsequently, Jiang Yuan supported his chin with one hand, quietly observing Yi Xia, and revealed a particularly alluring smile. "Indeed, I have been watching you. Is there something amiss?" Jiang Yuan's audacious words, coupled with his almost aggressively intense gaze, left Yi Xia momentarily flustered. She appeared to retreat under the onslaught of his attention. Yi Xia's cheeks flushed crimson as her hands nervously rested upon her thighs, and she buried her face in her chest, utterly unable to meet Jiang Yuan's gaze. However, it was evident that Jiang Yuan was not one to relent easily. Rather, his interest seemed to intensify as he continued. "Little sister, have you been watching me because you recognize me?" Chapter 178. The little admirer's gratitude, listening to Jiang Yuan's rich, magnetic voice, laced with a hint of teasing, Yi Xia found herself at a loss. Her gaze flitted nervously, desperately trying to escape the domineering scrutiny of Jiang Yuan, unable to meet his eyes. Yet, she was inherently proud. Even as a devoted admirer of Jiang Yuan, she would not easily concede her feelings. However, the truth of whether Jiang Yuan was indeed her benefactor, the one who had stirred chaos within the Yi family, remained uncertain. If she misattributed her gratitude, it would lead to a most embarrassing blunder. With this thought, Yi Xia forced herself to regain her composure. "I am Yi Xia. You are Mr. Jiang Yuan, correct?" she stammered. Jiang Yuan replied with confidence, "Indeed, that is I." Then, "Regarding the recent events involving the Yi family, are you connected to them?" Yi Xia inquired cautiously. The moment the words escaped her lips, regret washed over her. Overwhelmed by Jiang Yuan's presence and her own shyness, she had brazenly posed such a question before so many onlookers. Even if Jiang Yuan were the architect of the turmoil, he would never openly admit it in such a public setting, unless he genuinely regarded the Yi family with utter disdain, in which case he might indeed confess without a second thought. To her astonishment, Jiang Yuan nodded without hesitation, stating earnestly, "It was I who did it." Good heavens! Yi Xia momentarily questioned her own reality. How could someone as audacious as Jiang Yuan exist, even if he were the hidden mastermind behind the upheaval of the Yi family? His willingness to admit it so openly was outrageous. It was akin to a notorious criminal casually acknowledging their guilt in front of an audience, a display of reckless boldness. Clearly, Jiang Yuan viewed the Yi family as inconsequential, much like an elephant oblivious to the ant it inadvertently crushed. Yi Xia felt a wave of dizziness wash over her. "But why would you do such a thing?" she asked. After a moment's contemplation, Jiang Yuan replied slowly, "There is no particular reason. I simply found the Yi family's foolish young master quite displeasing and acted accordingly." As his words settled, the audience erupted in disbelief. Was this handsome young man serious? Or merely jesting? What had he just claimed? Had he truly disrupted the Yi family merely out of disdain for their heir? If he were only boasting, the Yi family would surely not let him off lightly. He would likely receive a lesson he would never forget. The plummeting stock prices of the Yi family. Could it truly be his doing? A boy of such tender years, capable of toppling a formidable power like the Yi family? This was a challenge to everything they believed. Amidst the audience's uncertainty, only a handful of influential figures understood that Jiang Yuan might be expressing his genuine sentiments. After all, others are oblivious to the significance of the Supreme Dragon card. Only they understand what it means for Jiang Yuan to possess such a card. The Yi family may not even be regarded by Jiang Yuan. Meanwhile, Yi Xia puffed up her cheeks, summoning her courage to ask, "How did you manage to achieve that?" Her curiosity regarding this matter had lingered for many days, even becoming a haunting obsession that troubled her incessantly. Regardless of how she pondered, she could not arrive at a satisfactory conclusion, not even one that seemed remotely plausible. What method could possibly have led to such substantial damage to the Yi family's formidable influence in such a brief period? Yi Xia's eyes widened, resembling two plump full moons, exuding an adorable charm. Observing her inquisitive demeanor, Jiang Yuan could not help but chuckle softly. Nothing in this world is flawless. Every entity possesses its own imperfections. In other words, its weaknesses. Yi Xia perked up her ears, sitting upright in an attentive posture. "Firstly, I dispatched a team of experts to analyze the Yi family's data from the previous year using big data techniques, which subsequently led to..." Jiang Yuan briefly outlined his ingenious tactics, omitting some crucial details. The more Yi Xia listened, the brighter her eyes became, as the conundrum that had plagued her for days unraveled before her. Along with this revelation came a profound admiration for Jiang Yuan that blossomed within her. However, her proud nature prevented her from openly expressing her newfound admiration. She would never let Jiang Yuan know. With a soft hum, Yi Xia maintained a nonchalant expression, feigning indifference as she remarked, "That's quite impressive." Yet, it was only when she averted her gaze that the glimmer of admiration in her eyes discreetly faded away. In the audience, there was no shortage of accolades directed towards Jiang Yuan. Of course, the most prevalent comments were exclamations of awe, such as "incredible" or "amazing." Alas, I lacked the education to articulate anything beyond simple exclamations. Following Jiang Yuan's bold revelation of his clever maneuvers, the number of his admirers surged dramatically. The Yi family had long been infamous in Xiqing, previously only untouchable due to the fear they inspired. However, Jiang Yuan had decisively delivered a lesson to the Yi family, undoubtedly providing everyone with a sense of vindication. Praise for Jiang Yuan swiftly permeated the venue of the audition. This young man's strategies were astoundingly profound, ensnaring even a superpower like the Yi family in his elaborate trap. Furthermore, he commanded a team with such formidable technical prowess, an indispensable component of his plan. While he mentioned engaging this expert team, he said nary a word about how he acquired them. Perhaps he was backed by an even more formidable force. Only a mightier monster can vanquish another. Jiang Yuan may well be supported by an influence more substantial than the Yi family itself. This young man is truly remarkable. If someone unaware of the situation were to enter at this moment, they might easily mistake it for a private concert of Jiang Yuan, as it appears that everyone present is a devoted fan, showering him with endless flattery. It resembles a grand event dedicated to adoration. The atmosphere is undeniably vibrant. Meanwhile, Director Chen, a short distance away, gently cleared his throat. After all, today is the audition event, and one must not forget the original purpose. Upon hearing his voice, Yi Xia immediately understood. So, Brother Jiang Yuan, what do you think of me? Chapter 179, Serious Nonsense. Unconsciously, she added the term brother after Jiang Yuan's name. Her sweet, melodious voice resembled a fluffy cloud of cotton candy melting in one's mouth, with a delightful essence blossoming upon the taste buds. Yi Xia found herself in a dire predicament, primarily due to the tyrannical behavior of the Yi family. Thankfully, Jiang Yuan's audacious maneuvers dealt a severe blow to the Yi family, leaving them incapacitated and allowing her to extricate herself from her harrowing situation. Naturally, she felt immense gratitude for this favor. In matters of gratitude, according to the conventions of the realm, if the benefactor is handsome, it is customary for a young woman to proclaim that she has no means to repay such kindness except to offer herself. Even figures like Banyangzi or fox spirits would transform into human forms to repay a scholar's life-saving grace. Conversely, if the benefactor is less than attractive, the response typically shifts to a promise of serving as a beast in the next life to repay the benefactor's kindness. Given Jiang Yuan's striking appearance, it is only natural that a woman of Yi Xia's caliber would fall into the former category. Even if he had rescued some cats or dogs, she might have considered transforming into a cat or dog girl to express her gratitude. Her statement, in fact, held a double entendre. On one hand, it was to ensure the smooth progress of today's audition. On the other hand, it was a subtle calculation of her own. Should Jiang Yuan find her appealing, she would not mind the idea of offering herself as a means of repayment. As her words lingered in the air, Jiang Yuan regarded her with a serious gaze. He scrutinized the woman before him, the quintessential neighborly girl, Yi Xia. To be candid, while her beauty may not rival that of a siren like Sun Yunch, she undoubtedly appeared as a goddess in the eyes of many ordinary men. Such a goddess could easily attract a dozen infatuated suitors with a mere fishing rod. Jiang Yuan, being astute, readily discerned the underlying implication of Yi Xia's words, which suggested a willingness to offer herself. Objectively speaking, her beauty warranted a score exceeding 9, and Jiang Yuan found himself quite satisfied. Her figure was elegantly elongated, with alluring curves. Although she did not possess the model-like proportions of a 7 or 9 head figure, she was remarkably close to the golden ratio, making her one of the standout figures among her peers. Few could rival the neighborly charm of Yi Xia. Her demeanor exuded a charming allure, not overly youthful, but rather imbued with a hint of maturity. How about we give it some thought? Jiang Yuan mused, his gaze drifting downward. Regrettably, while Yi Xia had much to commend her, she lacked a certain depth. According to the principle of the wooden barrel effect, the capacity of a barrel is determined by its shortest stave. No, that won't do. Perhaps it's nothing after all. A rush of warmth surged across Jiang Yuan's face as he declared with righteous fervor, I understand that you speak these words for other reasons. But true love cannot be born from such exchanges. Love is the profound understanding and acceptance of one another in all aspects. Yet, today marks merely our first encounter. To me, love transcends the mundane existence, embodying heroic aspirations and a profound belief that rises above an ordinary life. Please grant me some time, as well as yourself, to truly perceive each other before we determine our future. Upon hearing Jiang Yuan's heartfelt words, Yi Xia was immediately enveloped in a warm surge of emotion. This man possessed an exceptionally sound worldview. In contrast to many men today, who readily accept the advances of women, Jiang Yuan stood firm in his principles and beliefs, refusing to hastily embark on romantic entanglements. This man exhibited remarkable psychological health. She was nearly moved to tears by his earnest declaration. However, upon hearing Jiang Yuan's suggestion to allow time for understanding, a hint of disappointment flickered within her heart. In the audience, the Ouyang sisters were equally touched by Jiang Yuan's words. They were surprised to discover such genuine thoughts residing within him. That even a girl as beautiful as Yi Xia could be turned down due to his principles showcased his integrity. Beside them, Yao Wenwen struggled to stifle a laugh. Blushing slightly, she muttered to herself that having been around the boss for a while, she understood him well enough to know he must find Yi Xia too young. Hence his serious yet ridiculous remarks. Yi Xia, being someone who valued her pride, chose not to press on, but instead turned to walk toward the audience's losing team. Yet, her gaze lingered, and a singular thought echoed in her mind. Was there truly no chance left? After bidding farewell to the endearing neighbor girl, Jiang Yuan exhaled in relief. His earlier earnest yet nonsensical discourse on love had nearly convinced even himself. Life is akin to a play, reliant on one's acting skills. As a seasoned performer, Jiang Yuan maintained the essential decorum of an actor. While Yixia was undeniably wonderful, affluent, and possessed her own airport at a young age, she simply did not align with his tastes. Then, the spotlight shifted to the grand finale of the day, Sun Yunji. She was, in a sense, half an idol to Jiang Yuan. Adorned in a blue off-shoulder top and a white plaid miniskirt, her attire radiated youthful exuberance. Most notably, her figure was a formidable match to Yao Wenwen's. This was impressive. Yao Wenwen was one of the rare individuals Jiang Yuan had encountered who could rival her in allure. Aside from his family-esque culinary goddess, Xiaoya. Moreover, Sun Yunji was remarkably young, brimming with potential. Given time, Jiang Yuan believed her physique would undoubtedly rival that of Yao Wenwen and her peers. Sun Yunji was far from timid. She confidently settled down before Jiang Yuan. I heard you took action against the Yi family? Jiang Yuan nodded, affirming it was indeed my doing. But why did you do such a thing? The Yi family's influence in Xiqing is quite substantial, Sun Yunji inquired. Her curiosity piqued. Because the young master of the Yi family bullied one of my friends. But the influence of the Yi family is not as formidable as one might imagine, Jiang Yuan remarked with indifference. In Jiang Yuan's eyes, if individuals like Zhao, Jiwenhe, and Heng could be deemed as belonging to the realm of glorious gold, then the Yi family could at best be categorized as merely diamond level. A mere diamond, can it truly compete with a king? Sun Yunji did not delve deeply into the Yi family. Her curiosity was piqued more by Jiang Yuan's affairs. So, your friend must surely be a woman, right? Sun Yunji inquired with a look of innocent curiosity. Indeed, she is a woman. She must be quite beautiful then. About as beautiful as you. Then she must be an unparalleled beauty, a goddess among mortals, with looks that could captivate the world. No wonder you would take action against the Yi family on her behalf. Chapter 180. Sun Yunji Jiang Yuan felt an involuntary twitch at the corner of his eye. This woman's audacity was rather remarkable. She was certainly not to be underestimated. In the audience, the expressions of the defeated group, including Jiang Nana, Su Qingge, and Yi Shiya, were far from pleasant. Their auditions had not been particularly successful. Director Chun sought to select a girl with the most personal charm, yet their performances were somewhat lacking. Nonetheless, even among 4 resilient silver candidates, one must be deemed the strongest. They could only hope that Sun Yunji's audition would be even more awkward than theirs, especially Yi Shiya, who had just exited the stage and was now watching Sun Yunji with a wary vigilance, silently praying for a misstep. Sun Yunji, with a smile, playfully remarked, "Your actions carry a certain flavor of doing it all for the sake of a beautiful woman." Jiang Yuan waved his hand dismissively. "You flatter me. I'm quite a low-key person. Had they not gone too far, I would not have acted in such a manner." Low-key? At this remark, Sun Yunji's expression momentarily froze in surprise. Jiang Yuan was equally taken aback. "Am I not low-key?" "Low-key indeed." The audience collectively swooned. However, Sun Yunji's laughter did not linger on this matter. She was astute, her eyes gleaming with a dangerous light as she inquired, "Since you can disrupt the Yi family, are you here today not merely to observe the auditions, but also to cause upheaval at Tianqi Media?" Upon hearing her words, Director Chun became somewhat restless. After all, Tianqi Shangshi was his lifeline. Without it, his works would face numerous challenges, such as distribution, promotion, and scheduling. If Jiang Yuan truly intended to disrupt Tianqi Shangshi, he must find a way to intervene. Jiang Yuan found himself in a quandary. He could hardly confess that he was merely here to oversee his own enterprise, especially after proclaiming his low-key nature. He could not contradict himself so blatantly. After a moment's reflection, Jiang Yuan replied, "I bear no grudge against Tianqi Shangshi." Sun Yunji then teased, "So, if you did have a grudge, would you treat Tianqi Shangshi the same way you treat the Yi family?" She laughed lightly. Jiang Yuan could not deny the implication. The atmosphere in the room began to solidify, as Jiang Yuan's demeanor was excessively assertive. Even in the home ground of Tianqi Shangshi, he seemed disinclined to grant his counterpart any semblance of respect. Yet, Sun Yunji skillfully diffused the tension with a bright smile. "I was merely jesting." Jiang Yuan replied coolly, "Indeed, I too was joking." Through their exchange, Jiang Yuan began to form a certain impression of this woman. Beneath her youthful and radiant exterior lay a heart that was likely exceedingly perilous. At that moment, the upper echelons of Tianqi Shangshi Media were finally stirred. The fact that Jiang Yuan, the authority of Tianqi Shangshi, had chosen to make a discreet visit as a guest to serve as a male actor for the audition. Event sent shockwaves throughout the organization. They promptly dispatched a middle-aged man named Song Yi, who was a representative of the higher-ups, to rush to the audition venue. Hold on, halt for a moment. Song Yi hurriedly approached Director Chun and urgently requested a stop. Director Chun, bewildered, noted that the audition had yet to conclude. Moreover, the sudden appearance of a mysterious figure like Jiang Yuan had already rendered the event rather captivating. Why was there an abrupt, official request to pause? Despite his myriad questions, Director Chun felt he could not refuse. After all, the apocalyptic prosperity was his father. Could a son, no matter how tempestuous, truly dismiss his father's wishes? He temporarily called off the audition. After approximately 2 hours of continuous proceedings, it was clear that everyone was somewhat fatigued, and thus, a brief respite was deemed necessary. The unexpected interruption left Jiang Yuan somewhat puzzled as well. However, Song Yi approached Jiang Yuan with a subservient demeanor. Director Jiang, you arrived without notifying us, which seems rather aloof. Which talent has caught your eye? We shall make the necessary arrangements. Song Yi's expression was one of obsequiousness, nearly begging to kneel and polish Jiang Yuan's shoes. Yet, upon observing Song, one might suspect that if Jiang Yuan were to request him to perform such a menial task, he would comply without hesitation. Meanwhile, Sun Yungu, overhearing Song Yi's words, widened her beautiful eyes in surprise. Director Jiang? She recognized Song Yi, who held a mid to senior position in Tianqi Media and wielded significant influence within the entertainment industry of Xiqing. Typically, he was afforded the highest level of reception wherever he went, which had cultivated an air of aloofness about him. However, the Song Yi before her was entirely transformed into a gentle and obedient figure, devoid of any trace of his usual haughtiness. Coupled with his reference to Jiang Yuan, Sun Yungu immediately realized a crucial point. Jiang Yuan likely had profound ties to Tianqi Media. It was even plausible that Jiang Yuan was one of the senior executives of the company. In the audience, many prominent figures who recognized Song Yi were abuzz with speculation. Why has manager Song suddenly appeared here? And why the urgent halt to the auditions? Could there be an unforeseen circumstance? I've heard that he's usually quite aloof. But just look at his expression now. It seems oddly subservient, almost as if he is excessively flattering. Could it be that Tianqi Media had heard of Jiang Yuan and had specifically sent someone to cultivate a relationship? This was not out of the realm of possibility. Jiang Yuan was exceedingly enigmatic, and given his various behaviors, such conjectures held considerable weight. Amidst the murmurs, Jiang Yuan waved his hand, signaling Song Yi to withdraw, as he wished to continue his engagement. Yet, Song Yi flashed a sly smile, one that any man would understand. Director Jiang, I am actually here representing several board members. We have prepared some modest gifts for you. Please accept them. What modest gifts? Do I lack for such trifles? Jiang Yuan responded with a hint of impatience. However, upon seeing the note that Song Yi handed to him, Jiang Yuan's resolve began to waver. The note contained 3 options. Jiang Yuan, maintaining his composure, accepted the paper. He then gently patted Song Yi on the shoulder, offering a subtle commendation. Well done. May I know your name? Upon hearing Jiang Yuan's inquiry, Song Yi's face lit up with a radiant smile, as if he had just won a lottery worth millions. My name is Song Yi. Chapter 181. The audition concludes. Jiang Yuan discreetly tucked the note into his pocket. The message, handed to him by Song Yi, contained 3 crucial pieces of information. First, a clandestine party unique to Xiqing was about to take place. Second, Zhuo Tianheng had summoned a distinguished figure specifically to contend with Jiang Yuan. And third, this enigmatic individual would also attend the gathering. Jiang Yuan's past grievances with Zhuo Tianheng had evidently reached the upper echelons of the Tianqi Shengshi board, prompting them to enlist Song Yi to deliver this warning. Yet, Jiang Yuan pondered, how did they come to know of his conflict with Zhuo Tianheng? Was there a covert channel of information at play? His curiosity piqued. He recognized that despite wielding substantial power within Tianqi Shengshi, he remained somewhat oblivious to the capabilities of his subordinates. Though Jiang Yuan held Zhuo Tianheng in low regard, he felt a sense of appreciation for his subordinates' thoughtfulness in alerting him. The audacity of Zhuo Tianheng to recruit a mysterious benefactor against him was notable. Who could this benefactor be, and what was their standing? With a slight bow of his head, Jiang Yuan resolved to attend the party and uncover the truth. He discerned the disdainful expression on Song Yi's face, and it dawned on him that this gathering might not be entirely legitimate. With a wistful sigh, Jiang Yuan reflected, if I do not descend into hell, who shall? If I falter, who will provide for the multitude of women in my household? for their sake. He felt compelled to brave the perilous den of intrigue. As this thought lightened his heart, anticipation for the dubious nature of the party filled him. Yet, he quickly remembered that his audition was still in progress, and Sun Yunj awaited him. Despite her striking appearance, Jiang Yuan's impression of her was less than favorable. She was perilous and astute. After only a brief interaction, he felt utterly drained. Though she is attractive, she is not to my taste, he mused with a quiet sigh. He resolved to concoct an excuse to dismiss her. Jiang Yuan harbored a distaste for overly clever, scheming women. He longed for sincerity over cunning, believing that a little more affection and a little less manipulation would be far more delightful. However, his thoughts were increasingly consumed by the mysterious party, diminishing his interest in Sun Yunj. At that moment, Song Yi leaned in once more, cautioning him. Director Jiang, Sun Yunj's background is substantial. Even we at Tianqi Shengshi may find it challenging to negotiate with the powerful figures behind her, he advised earnestly. Though today is framed as an audition, the victor has likely been predetermined as Sun Yunj. You may indulge in the proceedings, but be mindful not to alter the outcome. Oh, Jiang Yuan's heart turned cold. There was indeed a shadowy undercurrent. It was well known that he was a man of principle, one who harbored a deep disdain for favoritism. The principles of fairness, justice, and transparency must never be compromised. If one truly desires to breach them, it must involve a monetary exchange. Jiang Yuan subtly gestured with a hand sign indicating money. Song immediately wore a distressed expression. How could we dare to accept payment? Do you know who Sun Yunji's grandfather is? He is none other than the esteemed Sun Lao of the capital. Any assistance we can offer that venerable elder could be considered an honor beyond our means. The capital, Jiang Yuan pondered. What could possibly draw individuals of such stature to a place like ours? Jiang Yuan inquired with curiosity. The power of the capital far surpasses that of Xia City. It is the epicenter of wealth and authority in the entire Dragon Nation. Clearly, if Sun Yungu were to develop in the capital, it would be markedly superior to her prospects in Xia City. In a hushed tone, Song Yi leaned closer to Jiang Yuan and whispered, I have heard that there are individuals in the capital who have clashed with the Sun family. Sun Lao, sending her to Xia City, may well be a means of seeking refuge. However, in matters of such celestial conflict, it is best we refrain from probing too deeply. Let's simply extend a favor to her. Upon hearing this, Jiang Yuan found himself enveloped in silence. The power struggles among the moguls of the capital were beyond his current capacity to engage. Although Jiang Yuan possessed numerous cunning strategies, most were merely opportunistic. To contend with the deeply entrenched aristocracy of the capital was evidently still beyond his reach. Very well, Jiang Yuan conceded with a nod. Yet, after his brief conversation with Song Yi, he discovered that the audition had already concluded and the surroundings had transformed into a dispersing crowd, with people exiting in succession. Nevertheless, many individuals, particularly the prominent figures from earlier, sought to approach Jiang Yuan for a brief audience. Jiang Yuan smiled and engaged in conversation with each of them for a while. Director Chen also approached Jiang Yuan with great respect and stated, I had not recognized the true depth of your talents, Jiang Yuan. I must apologize for my previous indiscretions. Jiang Yuan waved his hand dismissively. No harm done. This audition was quite intriguing, but why did it conclude so swiftly? Director Chen wiped a bead of cold sweat and replied, Just now, Miss Sun Yungu mentioned that she had an urgent matter to attend to and departed. Before leaving, she suggested we consider Yi Shiya. Initially, today's audition was essentially predetermined, and since she had pressing matters to address and recommended another candidate, it would be unwise to disregard her wishes. Jiang Yuan felt a flicker of surprise within. This audition was indeed a rare opportunity. With a renowned director like Chen and a production that lacked for funds, it was clear that they could propel her to stardom. Yet, Sun Yungu had relinquished this chance, willingly handing it over to another, unless it was due to some dire circumstance looming over the Sun family. Sun Yungu had resolutely forsaken all personal aspirations to address critical issues for her family. It seemed significant events were afoot for the Sun family. However, what concern is that of mine? Jiang Yuan stretched languidly. I am not well acquainted with her. Her affairs are of no consequence to me. While the abrupt end of the audition left Jiang Yuan with a sense of incompleteness, it nonetheless provided him with a somewhat intriguing memory. At that moment, Jiang Yuan's phone rang. It was a call from Yiran. The conversation was brief, consisting of only a few sentences. Jiang Yuan, could you visit the Yi family on Antique Street in the next few days? Oh, you're in Xiamen. If possible, please make sure to come by once you return. After hanging up the phone, Jiang Yuan pondered for a moment. The last time, during the ancestral worship ceremony in Qinghe Township, there had been something amiss with Yi Iran. She had mentioned in passing that there seemed to be some issues at the Yi family on Antique Street, though she had not elaborated much, merely indicating there were minor troubles. Originally, the head of the Yi family was supposed to attend the ceremony, but was unfortunately preoccupied with certain matters. However, it was evident that the situation had taken a turn for the worse. Jiang Yuan reflected that Yi Ran was indeed a remarkable young woman, her singing skills rivaling those of Gu Jianing. If he could bring her under his wing and have her collaborate with Gu Jianing, serenading him daily, it would be quite delightful. Given that the Yi family on Antique Street was in distress, he was more than willing to assess the situation, seizing the opportunity to bring Yi Iran into his fold. Chapter 182. The secret party, however, regarding Yi Ran's matter, there is no need for haste. With the strength of the Yi family in Antique Street, even if they were to falter, they could sustain themselves for a while longer. They would not perish immediately. Jiang Yuan must first ascertain what kind of distinguished guest Zhuo Tianhang has invited to deal with him. The unknown is the most formidable adversary. If this esteemed guest hails from the capital, then the situation may indeed be somewhat troublesome. The pressing issue at hand is to attend this enigmatic gathering and uncover the truth. Since this so-called noble guest will also be present, it would be prudent to seize the opportunity and win this individual over to his side. The address provided by Song. Jiang Yuan pondered briefly. Venus Hot Springs Hotel. Venus, as in the goddess of love from Greek mythology. This establishment, named after her, and chosen as the venue for a mysterious party, is evidently not an ordinary hotel. Alas, one must venture into the tiger's den to capture the tiger's cub, for the sake of a noble cause. I must relinquish my purity and descend into this abyss of moral decay. Jiang Yuan sighed internally. My sacrifice is truly immense. Soon, Jiang Yuan met up with Yao Wenwen and others. However, he bid farewell to the Ouyang sisters, expressing that he had matters to attend to. The sisters understood, acknowledging that a man must prioritize his career. Thus, Jiang Yuan and Yao Wenwen embarked on their journey to the Venus Hot Springs Hotel. During the drive, Jiang Yuan briefly shared his intentions. Upon hearing his plan, Yao Wenwen's eyes widened in shock, staring intently at him. Boss, you shameless old rogue. Are you really planning to sneak away to such a place without us? Her expression was one of disbelief, as if she could hardly fathom it. Jiang Yuan retorted angrily. I have made such sacrifices, and it is all for your sake. How can you speak to me like that? Yao Wenwen, chastened by his rebuke, shrank her adorable little head, revealing a somewhat aggrieved expression. But, she protested, you can't just. Jiang Yuan sighed. I do not wish to go either, but given the circumstances, I must see what capabilities that esteemed guest possesses. Yao Wenwen touched her head and said, that is not what I meant. I mean, if you're going, I want to go too. She then added fiercely, boss, whoever you have your eye on, I will help you secure them. A few would be fine. Jiang Yuan patted her head and said, stop joking around, just drive. The Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost sped along swiftly. Before long, Jiang Yuan arrived at his destination, Venus Hot Springs Hotel. At the entrance, security personnel were checking and verifying the identities of the guests. Today, the entire Venus Hot Springs Hotel had been reserved exclusively for this occasion. The purpose, of course, was to host an extraordinary party. Almost every attendee was a person of considerable stature and influence. This gathering transcends the realms of mere silver and golden ranks. It is a pinnacle banquet reserved exclusively for those of diamond stature and above. Each attendee is a figure of considerable influence, capable of causing tremors within the city of Xiamen. Among them, the Yi family is notably represented. However, Yi Rongtian has recently found himself in a rather unfortunate predicament, confined by his father to reflect upon his misdeeds due to the turmoil caused by Jiang Yuan. Unable to confront Jiang Yuan directly, his father has redirected his frustrations towards his son, imposing various restrictions as a form of punishment, prohibiting travel, freezing bank accounts, and forbidding the invitation of guests to their home. Today, the one attending this enigmatic soiree is Yi Rongdao, the second son of the Yi family. Jiang Yuan possesses a faint recollection of him. During their last encounter, Yi Rongdao exhibited remarkable composure and wisdom, clearly surpassing his rather inept elder brother. Jiang Yuan presented the identity card prepared for him by Tianqi Shengshi to the security personnel. Jiang Yuan, chairman of Tianqi Shengshi, exclaimed the guard. This reaction was not solely due to the prestige of Jiang Yuan's title, for the venue was brimming with illustrious figures, and the security staff were no strangers to the elite. What astonished him was that Jiang Yuan was, without a doubt, the youngest among the prominent attendees. Upon confirming his identity, Jiang Yuan officially entered the grand affair. The banquet offered an extravagant array of seafood, with lobster and abalone being commonplace, while even the exceedingly rare blue lobster was abundantly available. However, those present were not individuals lacking in means. Their true focus lay upon the special guest of the evening, one of the four little heavenly queens, Tang Qianxin, elegantly cradling glasses of red wine. They awaited her entrance with bated breath. Yi Rongdao, obeying his father's directive, attended the event primarily for Tang Qianxin. This remarkable woman wielded a complex web of connections. Securing her support could potentially rescue the Yi family from their plight. Others in attendance shared a similar sentiment, all drawn by the allure of wealth. Albeit this particular wealthy woman was undeniably formidable. The gathering was expansive, and the influential figures of Xiamen found themselves waiting for nearly an hour without a sight of her. They maintained an air of restraint, wine glasses in hand, faces adorned with nonchalance. Jiang Yuan, however, felt no such burden. His stomach had been grumbling since the audition, prompting him to seize a lobster and indulge without hesitation. At that moment, a familiar gaze locked onto him. Jiang Yuan, my young friend, what a surprise to encounter you here. It seems fate has woven our paths together. Chapter 183, Encountering Su Tianhao. Again, Jiang Yuan recognized the voice immediately, feeling an inexplicable familiarity with it. The tone exuded a unique steadiness typical of middle-aged men, coupled with an undeniable authority and an ineffable air of nobility. Could be Su Tianhao? Jiang Yuan's surprise was palpable. He lifted his gaze, following the sound to its source. Indeed, he spotted a middle-aged gentleman adorned with an aura of affluence. His expression a blend of astonishment and a warm smile directed at Jiang Yuan. What a surprise to see you here, Jiang Yuan exclaimed. That is precisely what I wish to convey. Su Tianhao chuckled heartily. Life has its four joys, one of which is encountering an old acquaintance in a foreign land. Both hailing from Nanchang and having shared a pleasant rapport previously, their reunion was marked by genuine delight. The serendipitous encounter at this enigmatic gathering felt almost fortuitous. The two men exchanged knowing smiles, a camaraderie understood only among men. This mysterious gathering could be likened to a grand social soiree. At this moment, it had attracted numerous exceptional individuals of the opposite sex. Capturing their hearts could lead to successful connections. The host of the soiree was an enigmatic figure of considerable stature, with attendees only aware that the identities of those present were extraordinarily distinguished. Moreover, one of the four rising starlets, Tang Qianxin, was set to make an appearance. Rumor had it that winning the affections of Miss Tang at this gathering could yield an opportunity for intimate encounters. Whether this was true or mere speculation, it nonetheless drew a plethora of admirers and opportunists eager to associate with influential figures. After all, aside from her beauty, which rivaled that of Sun Yunj, Tang Qianxin hailed from the capital, belonging to a class of affluent elites. Consequently, the line of suitors vying for her attention could stretch interminably. So, was Su Tianhao among the former or the latter? Jiang Yuan cast a sidelong glance at Su Tianhao, curiosity piqued as he inquired, Mr. Su, what brings you here today? Are you perhaps here for Miss Tang? As the saying goes, a man remains a youth until his last breath. The fervor of youth often invites frivolous thoughts. Thus, even someone as seasoned as Su Tianhao might harbor hidden intentions. However, Su Tianhao appeared entirely earnest, seemingly oblivious to the layered implications of Jiang Yuan's words. He replied candidly, Who is Miss Tang? I have not heard of her. I am here to make some connections. Jiang Yuan nodded, feigning belief in his words. Su Tianhao then countered, Young friend Jiang Yuan, are you perhaps here to win a smile for a beauty? I have heard that today's attendees are rather exceptional, and one might not achieve their desires. Jiang Yuan shook his head earnestly, not at all. I have serious matters to attend to today. As for beauties, they are merely fleeting visions. Though not entirely fabricated, his primary intention was indeed to seek the esteemed guest invited by Zhuo Tianhang. Yet, upon learning about this gathering, Jiang Yuan's thoughts had shifted dramatically. The prospect of winning over the illustrious Tang Qianxin intrigued him greatly. What of Zhuo Tianhang and his benefactor? If not akin to mere puppets for their amusement? Moreover, Tang Qianxin's beauty is hardly inferior to that of Sun Yunj, both revered as the four little heavenly queens. In this indifferent society, I yearn desperately for a genuine love to warm my soul, Jiang Yuan mused, after conversing with Su Tianhao for roughly 10 minutes. As the other prominent figures began to show signs of impatience, a middle-aged woman clad in a pale blue evening gown emerged slowly from the shadows. She appeared to be in her mid-30s, exuding a mature charm reminiscent of a perfectly ripened peach, adorned with striking red glasses that added an alluring touch to her presence. This was Tang Qinshin's manager, breathtakingly beautiful. Her skin looked more youthful than that of women in their 20s. This woman, known as Aunt Tang, was said to be Tang Qinshin's maternal aunt, having raised her and nurtured her talents from a young age. It was no wonder she possessed such beauty. The Tang family's genes were indeed remarkable. If we cannot capture Tang Qinshin's attention, perhaps we should consider the possibility of impressing Aunt Tang. Speak softly. Be wary of being overheard by the Tang family. Should they choose to retaliate, it could cost you dearly. Aunt Tang's husband is formidable. You dare to utter such risky remarks? Jiang Yuan listened to the intermittent conversations around him, stealing glances at Aunt Tang in her elegant blue gown. The individuals gathered here were the pinnacle of society in Xiqing, yet they appeared diminutive and fearful in the presence of the Tang family from the capital, akin to a timid rabbit confronted by a fierce tiger, utterly defenseless. Aunt Tang's gaze was somewhat aloof as she surveyed the surroundings and spoke with a hint of indifference. Qinshin is on the 12th floor. If you wish to make acquaintances, you may ascend. If not, you may remain here. Her words were few, her voice tinged with a smoky allure that was undeniably enchanting, stirring an irresistible longing within those who listened. Naturally, the majority of men opted to ascend to the 12th floor. While there were many attractive women below, they paled in comparison to Tang Qinshin, akin to the stark divide between unyielding silver and the mightiest of kings. Furthermore, Tang Qinshin's backing came from the illustrious Tang family of the capital, rendering these unremarkable women devoid of any allure in comparison. Jiang Yuan exchanged a knowing glance with Su Tianhao, who spoke first. It is said that Miss Tang enjoys presenting peculiar challenges to test others. If you truly intend to go up, my young friend, it would be wise to prepare thoroughly, lest you miss a golden opportunity. Jiang Yuan expressed his gratitude, yet confusion soon crept onto his face. Mr. Su, did you not just claim to have never heard of Miss Tang? How, then, are you aware of this? Confronted with Jiang Yuan's inquiry, Su Tianhao's expression momentarily faltered, evidently caught off guard. However, possessing a thick skin, he promptly replied, in truth, I merely heard that a certain young lady known for presenting challenging problems would be present today, and I presume that it must be Miss Tang. Jiang Yuan let out a prolonged "oh," then further questioned, if that is the case, why did you choose to ascend the elevator? Did you not claim to be here solely to make friends? Su Tianhao maintained his composure, responding evenly, since these friends are all preparing to head upstairs. It would be rather unrefined of me, Su, to abstain from joining them. Therefore, I shall reluctantly accompany them. The old man's audacity exceeded Jiang Yuan's imagination. He silently mused. Subsequently, he and Su Tianhao ascended together in the same elevator, proceeding towards the 12th floor. Chapter 184. The wealth display of the Titans. Jiang Yuan and Su Tianhao arrived on the 12th floor. However, upon exiting the elevator, they encountered a man whose physique and appearance seemed somewhat familiar. After a moment of contemplation, Jiang Yuan recalled that this was Yi Rongdao, the younger brother of the inept Yi Rongtian from the Yi family. Yet, it was evident that his brother possessed considerably more capability, particularly in terms of intelligence, compared to Yi Rongtian. Upon seeing Jiang Yuan, Yi Rongdao did not exhibit any trace of animosity. Instead, he merely offered a polite smile. He did not harbor disdain towards Jiang Yuan, as he was acutely aware of the fierce familial rivalry between himself and his elder brother. Yi Rongtian, being the legitimate heir of the Yi family, was expected to manage all business affairs. However, due to his lackluster performance and recent blunders involving Jiang Yuan, which had brought calamity upon the Yi family, his father had reconsidered his stance and was inclined to transfer more business authority to Yi Rongdao. In a certain sense, Jiang Yuan could be regarded as Yi Rongdao's benefactor. Without Jiang Yuan's intervention, his ascension would have been far less straightforward. Nonetheless, when Jiang Yuan compelled his father to perform the ceremonial act of leading a horse, it was a clear affront to the Yi family's dignity. Thus, publicly expressing gratitude was out of the question. A courteous smile was the extent of his acknowledgement. Jiang Yuan smirked, realizing that it was no surprise for members of the Yi family to be present in such a gathering. After all, with so many prominent figures from Xiamen congregating here, one could only wonder if Shui Tianhang would send representatives as well. Scanning the unfamiliar faces around him, Jiang Yuan observed no particularly noteworthy individuals. He remained oblivious to the identity of Shui Tianhang's esteemed guests. However, he was confident that should he succeed in winning over Tang Qinshin, it would render all others irrelevant. compelling them to kneel in admiration. Even if he failed to capture the affections of the goddess Tang, Jiang Yuan was assured of his ability to navigate various circumstances with skill and opportunity. As the majority arrived on the 12th floor, An Tang glanced at the time on her phone. Subsequently, she instructed her subordinates to temporarily seal off the 12th floor. At the same time, the entrances and exits to the 11th and 13th floors were securely locked. No one was permitted access to the 12th floor. After An Tang had made her preparations, discontent was palpable among the attendees. Many murmured among themselves, questioning the absence of Ms. Tang and the rationale behind isolating the 12th floor, expressing concern for their personal safety. The magnitude of Ms. Tang's influence was indeed impressive. Fortunately, Aunt Tang noted the unease in the room. Adjusting her crimson spectacles, she smiled lightly and announced, "Qinshin has mentioned that her beloved piano has recently broken down. If anyone can present her with a fine piano, she would be willing to spend some private time with that person." Her words left everyone momentarily breathless. Private time? What did that entail? This interaction is hardly serious. However, the issue of the piano must be addressed first. Jiang Yuan exchanged glances with Su Tianhao beside him. "You didn't come here unprepared, did you?" Su Tianhao asked, somewhat astonished. In his mind, Jiang Yuan was an enigmatic figure, never one to arrive empty-handed. Yet, Jiang Yuan truly had come without any preparations. Speaking of the piano, it seemed he had previously drawn a reward of the piano, but he had not given it much thought, as he could not play. It was merely a decorative piece at home. Jiang Yuan began to contemplate what kind of piano he had drawn, hoping it might prove useful. Time, however, was of the essence. The influential figures on the 12th floor had long grown impatient. Upon hearing that Tang Qinshin desired a piano, they graciously commenced their display. Among those present, who did not possess an array of luxurious collectibles, naturally, there were pianos among their prized possessions. "I have a Swan Lake-Eared piano. I wonder if it might catch Miss Tang's eye." The name alone captivated Jiang Yuan's attention. Tang also appeared intrigued, a subtle smile gracing her lips, enhancing her allure. The speaker was none other than Yi Rongdao. He slowly moved to the center of the crowd and began to succinctly introduce this piano. It was crafted from the finest mahogany, commissioned by artists of the Art Nouveau movement in the last century, possessing a rich history and cultural depth. Yi Rongdao spoke with conviction, eloquently detailing the Swan Lake-Eared piano. However, just as he anticipated a chorus of admiration and gasps of astonishment, he was met with disappointment and surprise, discovering that most remained utterly indifferent, some even regarding him with a hint of derisive amusement. The surrounding individuals were not mere bystanders. They were the elite of shaman, unperturbed by such displays. While the Swan Lake piano was indeed impressive, its collectible value far exceeded its practical use. Our Miss Tang is a lover of the piano. She naturally prefers to play herself, and your piano evidently does not meet that criterion. Y possessa Steinway Gran Piano. Its soundboard crafted from an exquisite selection of 40 layers of the finest wood globally, and it features a peacock design executed in ink wash by the renowned artist Zhang Qi. Another magnate unveiled an extraordinary piano of considerable worth. Yet upon hearing this, Jiang Yuan felt a slight stir within. He turned his gaze to the source of the voice, discovering it was indeed Su Tianhao. The Steinway grand piano was his preparation. Jiang Yuan's eyes twitched slightly, and he remarked, "Director Su, weren't you here to make friends?" Su Tianhao retorted confidently, "I believe this Miss Tang may be the ideal candidate for friendship." "What a frivolous fellow," Jiang Yuan silently scoffed. At that moment, several prominent figures began to speak. "I possess a grand piano of celestial proportions, its design remarkably unique, resembling a flying fish, and its body crafted from pure 24K gold, making it the sole piano in the world shaped like an aircraft. Additionally, I own a Bechstein grand piano, constructed from over 200 pieces of white jade, a collaborative masterpiece completed with the assistance of renowned sculptural artists." Chapter 185. The Heinz Crystal Piano, as Yi Rongdao unveiled the Death Swan Lake-Eared piano. An array of previously unheard and unseen piano names began to emerge from the lips of various individuals. Su Tianhao presented a harmonious Steinway grand piano, while a handsome young man with a somewhat melancholic demeanor revealed a Galaxy grand piano. Additionally, a middle-aged man, several years senior to Su Tianhao, showcased a Bechstein grand piano. The Death Swan Lake-Eared piano, brought forth by Yi Rongdao, is estimated to be worth no less than 10 million. Is this a mere 10 million worth of a piano? It seems the Yi family has not adequately prepared, sending someone with such a trivial item. After all, The Yi family has recently encountered considerable turmoil, leaving the entire clan preoccupied with damage control, likely devoid of the luxury of distraction. While this piano may have some prestige when considered alone, it pales in comparison to our offerings. To speak of the Harmonious Steinway grand piano alone, its value is approximately 60 million, a staggering sixfold of the former's worth. I have heard of this Harmonious Steinway. Crafted by skilled artisans over 3 years, it employs the finest wood in the world, complemented by the intricate embellishments of an expert in ink wash techniques, previously hailed by a luxury collector as one of the 10 most precious pianos globally. The Galaxy Grand Piano is no less impressive. Designed in an extraordinarily creative flying fish shape and entirely made of 24K gold, its opulent design rivals that of the Harmonious Steinway in terms of value. As for the Bechstein Grand Piano, it is constructed entirely of white jade, ensuring unparalleled functionality. Its exquisite design transcends that of a mere instrument, standing as a monumental wonder in the annals of human artistry. And I believe its worth is on par with any other piano present. Amidst the cacophony of diverse sounds, Jiang Yuan remarked, "What are these pianos? I have never heard of them before." Clearly, these individuals came well prepared, demonstrating remarkable thoroughness. This gathering is serious, resembling a contest among deities, leaving mere mortals with no opportunity to intervene. This group of LSPs evidently conducted their research in advance. The best technique for wooing women lies in appealing to their interests, and it is apparent that one of Tang Qinshin's passions includes the piano. These individuals have mastered the art of courting, with many placing their bets on the allure of the piano. Jiang Yuan felt somewhat disadvantaged, akin to participating in an examination where he discovered others had studied diligently for months, while he approached it unprepared. Moreover, the reward for the top scorer is notably generous, an opportunity to spend time with a captivating beauty, rich beyond measure and radiantly vivacious. This circumstance feels profoundly unjust. Yet, despite his frustration, Jiang Yuan remained composed. He also maturely understood the brutal nature of this world. Others would not cease their relentless competition because of it. I possess a Casablanca piano, which, despite its unassuming appearance, served as the official piano of the Hollywood film industry from the 1970s to the 1990s. This piano is a commemorative piece worthy of being etched into the annals of Hollywood history, having once fetched an astounding 17 million at auction. Additionally, I own a red Steinway piano, designed by the renowned designer Josina to raise funds for AIDS and tuberculosis patients. This exquisite instrument sold for a staggering 47 million at a charity auction. Furthermore, I have a Bechstein Louis XV piano, the favorite of the legendary virtuoso Liszt, often referred to as the piano demon. This piano was custom-made for him by his friend Carl, tailored to suit the extraordinary talents of this musical genius. I believe the collectible value of this piano is on par with any present. The battlefield of competition is fiercely intense, with a plethora of luxurious pianos emerging like contenders in a grand tournament, showcasing a dazzling array of talents. Even Aunt Tang, who serves as Tang Qinshin's agent and is well-versed in such matters, finds herself momentarily overwhelmed. She moves gracefully, her figure voluptuous yet not cumbersome, swaying her captivating waist like a mesmerizing siren, approaching each individual in turn. She verifies the pianos presented by each participant, meticulously recording their details for Miss Tang to compare and ultimately select the decisive instrument. Almost everyone present has come well prepared, except for Jiang Yuan, who has yet to register, as he momentarily cannot recall which piano he drew. Aunt Tang appears slightly surprised, but refrains from further comment, merely casting Jiang Yuan an extra glance before shifting her focus. Beside Jiang Yuan, Su Tianhao wears a look of triumph, clearly confident in his success. In fact, several wealthy merchants from Xiamen have already congratulated him in advance. "So, you are Mr. Su, the wealthiest man from the South City? Your piano undoubtedly surpasses all competitors. You truly deserve the title of the foremost in South City. Allow me to congratulate you on your victory in advance." Mr. Su's piano, both in collectible and practical value, ranks among the best, making him the likely winner overall. Congratulations to Mr. Su, not only for winning the heart of a beautiful woman, but also for successfully forging ties with the Tang family. Truly a remarkable achievement that inspires envy. Su Tianhao, with a proud expression, modestly waved his hand. "Oh no, the outcome is yet to be determined. You all flatter me. I'm unworthy of such praise." Jiang Yuan raised an eyebrow. This Su Tianhao is quite the lecher, despite already having a daughter. He seems overly pleased with the prospect of spending time with a young lady like Miss Tang. Young love is a fleeting thrill of youth. Yet this older man appears to covet a girl. Clearly, he is rather disreputable. I scoff. Jiang Yuan could not help but display a hint of disdain in his gaze. Su Tianhao, naturally, sensed the subtle indignation reflected in Jiang Yuan's eyes. He chuckled heartily, saying, "Young friend Jiang Yuan, to put it in the vernacular of your generation, are you not feeling a tad envious?" Jiang Yuan. After Aunt Tang completed the collection of data for the piano, she entrusted it to Miss Tang in the room for review. As expected, Aunt Tang soon announced the results of this assessment. Following the rigorous screening by Chen Xian and myself, ultimately. However, just as Aunt Tang was about to reveal the results, a flash of realization struck Jiang Yuan, akin to a bolt of lightning. He suddenly remembered that his own piano was the Heinz Crystal Piano. It currently lay peacefully in his residence within the Dongshan Villa area of South City. In terms of its formidable prowess, when compared to Su Tianhao's, the audacious Heinz Crystal Piano exclaimed, "Hey, little brother, what's the matter?" Meanwhile, the trembling Steinway Grand Piano whispered, "Brother, your strength is quite formidable." Chapter 186. A successful coup. After meticulous deliberation between Chen Xian and myself, we ultimately reached a consensus that Mr. Su's harmonious Steinway Grand Piano was slightly superior. In the end, it was indeed Su Tianhao's harmonious Steinway that triumphed, outshining all competitors and securing an opportunity for a private encounter with Miss Tang. This left many men lamenting in despair. The daughter of the Tang family in the capital is rumored to attend this party only once, making it a singular opportunity. To establish a connection with the Tang family is a rare and fortuitous chance, yet it was unexpectedly seized by someone from the southern city. Their piano was undeniably exceptional. We simply could not compete, and thus we humbly accepted defeat. How infuriating! Su Tianhao basked in the envy and jealousy of those around him. However, he maintained a facade of gentlemanly grace, claiming that his victory was merely a stroke of luck and that everyone else need not be overly disheartened, for there would surely be other, better opportunities awaiting them. The surrounding dignitaries collectively cast disdainful glances. This individual, lacking in martial ethics, had evidently prepared extensively in advance. He had anticipated the questions perfectly. Now, he feigned humility while uttering platitudes. How shameless! Despite their irritation, the crowd felt powerless. Su Tianhao's victory was an established fact, immutable and undeniable. Before the watchful eyes of the assembly, he was ushered into a room to await Miss Tang's arrival. Just as Aunt Tang believed the matter was settled and the surrounding dignitaries sighed, preparing to depart, a voice called out, "Please wait." Jiang Yuan suddenly stepped forward, grasping Aunt Tang's hand. Aunt Tang, in her 30s, was at the pinnacle of a woman's mature charm. Her hands were soft and delicate, her skin as tender as silk. Upon grasping her hand, Jiang Yuan immediately felt it was as supple as a piece of fresh tofu. No wonder it is said that women are made of water. Aunt Tang was momentarily taken aback. It had been a long time since anyone had held her hand since her husband's passing. Suddenly being grasped by this handsome young man left her feeling inexplicably flustered. "What do you need?" Aunt Tang forced herself to inquire calmly. "I also possess a piano. However, I neglected to record it earlier. I would like to request your permission to present it for Miss Tang's consideration," Jiang Yuan responded. Upon hearing Jiang Yuan's request, Aunt Tang felt a pang of difficulty. According to protocol, it was clearly impossible to grant Jiang Yuan's request. The examination had concluded, the testing grounds were closed. The candidates had submitted their papers, and the results had been released. How could one submit additional work? Such a request was evidently against the rules. Yet, gazing upon the striking features of this young gentleman, Aunt Tang found herself unable to utter the words of refusal. She could not even manage to feign indifference. This young man was simply too captivating. Seizing the moment, Jiang Yuan approached Aunt Tang's ear and whispered softly about the Heinz Crystal Piano. Initially, Aunt Tang did not pay much attention. After all, if Jiang Yuan possessed something truly remarkable, it would have been revealed long ago. The current attempt to submit additional information appears to be a desperate gambit. However, when Jiang Yuan disclosed the details of his piano to Aunt Tang, her expression shifted dramatically. From a state of casual indifference, she became noticeably serious. "Is what you say true?" Aunt Tang inquired, her tone laced with hesitation. "If it is indeed genuine, perhaps I can intercede on your behalf and gauge Chen Xian's reaction." Jiang Yuan nodded in agreement. It was worth a try. Certainly more favorable than having no opportunity at all. With a sense of urgency, Aunt Tang hastened to Chen Xian's room. Meanwhile, Chen Xian was already prepared. On the verge of heading to the rendezvous with Su Tianhao, she bore a striking resemblance to Aunt Tang, possessing the same ethereal beauty and grace. She was akin to a youthful incarnation of her aunt. Yet, their beauty was distinct in its own right. Tang Chun Xin resembled a budding lily, radiating vitality and youthful exuberance, while Aunt Tang embodied the essence of a ripe, succulent peach, mature and delectably sweet. In terms of beauty, they were truly equals. Aunt Tang, what troubles you? Chun Xin asked, puzzled. Aunt Tang, having run to convey Jiang Yuan's message, had beads of perspiration glistening on her forehead, anxious not to delay the matter. There was a miscalculation earlier. We overlooked a piano. Aunt Tang fabricated a minor lie. She was unsure why, but felt an overwhelming desire to assist Jiang Yuan. Chun Xin, somewhat dismissive, took a sip from the coffee cup on the table. So what if it was overlooked? Our results are already in. Even if it is superior to Mr. Su's piano, we cannot breach our contract. This sentiment aligned closely with Aunt Tang's expectations. Yet clinging to a flicker of hope, she added, but that piano belongs to Heinz. The crystal piano. With a sudden jolt, the coffee cup slipped from Chun Xion's grasp, crashing violently to the ground. Fortunately, the thick carpet cushioned the fall, and the cup remained intact. Could you repeat that? Chun Xion exclaimed, astonished. The Heinz crystal piano? This piano was crafted by the renowned piano maker Heinzmann, famed for producing legendary instruments. Heinzmann has always been synonymous with quality and prestige in the realm of pianos. Anyone in the piano community who had not heard of the Heinzmann brand would surely be the subject of ridicule. Jiang Yuan's crystal piano was, without a doubt, the crowning achievement of the Heinzmann Company. A legendary pianist once performed on this very crystal piano during the globally celebrated Olympics, captivating billions of viewers. This performance ensured that the striking crystal piano became etched in the memory of nearly everyone worldwide, garnering immense acclaim. For Tang Chun Xin, this crystal piano represented her ideal. A cherished dream. It is indeed a lamentable situation that the Heinzmann crystal piano has gone missing, and even the Tang family from the capital has been unable to ascertain its whereabouts. However, today it has unexpectedly been presented by a mysterious gentleman. Tang Qinshin's breath quickened involuntarily. I must meet him. Aunt Tang hesitated slightly and inquired. What about Mr. Su Tianhao? What else can be done? Tang Qinshin replied with utmost determination. I shall go alone. How could I possibly split myself in two? Let us disregard Mr. Su. Chapter 187. The benefactor turned out to be you? Isn't this rather inappropriate? Aunt Tang expressed her hesitation, feeling that this course of action was excessively hasty and disrupted the established decorum. To abruptly leave someone in the lurch seemed rather disrespectful to Mr. Su, and it deviated from the norms, especially since he had already received news of his victory. He might very well express his dissent. Little did she know, Tang Qinshin furrowed her brow slightly, her phoenix eyes igniting with sparks of defiance. Does he dare? Even if he opposes, what of it? Tang Qinshin remarked with a hint of displeasure. The Tang family adheres to rules and etiquette. How could this rustic outsider from the outer city dare to object? Even if he had 100 times the courage, would he dare? As a scion of one of the foremost aristocratic families in the capital, she had been instilled with notions of dominance and assertiveness from an early age, harboring no interest whatsoever in the weak. Regardless of Su Tianhao's status as the wealthiest man in the outer city, what of it? In Tang Qinshin's eyes, those who were not part of the capital's elite were merely upstarts of little consequence, indistinguishable from country bumpkins. Even the richest man in the southern city, in her view, was no different from a boastful gorilla in a circus, utterly inconsequential. Aunt Tang was aware that her niece had been feeling rather unwell lately, troubled by her cousin's health issues, which inevitably left her irritable and restless. Given her inherently capricious disposition, Aunt Tang reluctantly acquiesced to this decision. Yet, the young lady of the Tang family had made a spontaneous choice. Poor Su Tianhao remained blissfully unaware. With a smile gracing his features, he sat confidently in his room, embodying the demeanor of a victor, eagerly awaiting the arrival of the Tang family's young lady. His mind drifted to the recent triumph, a sense of pride swelling within him. As the wealthiest man in the southern city, he had leveraged his fame and reputation to acquire a rather rare heirloom Steinway grand piano. Such a prized possession, though its price was evident, was notoriously difficult to procure, often accessible only through very exclusive channels. At this moment, he felt an overwhelming sense of satisfaction, akin to a spring breeze caressing a galloping steed. Having witnessed the blossom of Chang'an in all its glory, those attending this enigmatic soiree were undoubtedly prominent figures in Xiamen. on ordinary days. The mere weight of their presence could send ripples through the entire city. Yet here he was, an outsider from the southern city, managing to eclipse them all. What a delightful feeling it was, especially to be connected with the Tang family and potentially meet the young lady herself. What an exhilarating prospect. Despite his age and the fact that his daughter, Su Wanting, was already in her 20s, Su Tianhao steadfastly adhered to the principle of growing ever more vigorous with age, never remarrying since the passing of his wife. Had I not received word of impending significant movements from the capital, would I have taken such steps? Su Tianhao chuckled bitterly to himself. Aligning with the Tang family might not only provide refuge, but could also yield substantial benefits. Where there are people, there will always be a world of intrigue. In the realm of life, one often finds oneself unable to act freely. At times, the price one must pay for a life of ease and leisure can be exceedingly burdensome. Choosing a side is an intricate matter, a question of great significance. Aligning oneself with the right faction may lead to opportunities that could transform a life of poverty into one of soaring success. Conversely, choosing the wrong side could render even the wealthiest individual vulnerable to the whims of others. Maintaining neutrality is a luxury reserved for those whose strength vastly surpasses that of their peers, and whose interests pose no threat to the collective advantage of others. Su Tianhao was meticulously preparing himself for the encounter with the young lady of the Tang family. However, just as he was lost in thought, his phone unexpectedly rang. A slight frown crossed his brow as his train of thought was interrupted, and he hesitated to answer the call. Nevertheless, upon seeing the caller ID, he reluctantly picked up. "Director Zhua, is there something you need?" Su Tianhao managed to suppress his irritation as he spoke. On the other end, Zhua Tianhang was in a state of distress. As the saying goes, enduring a moment of anger only leads to greater frustration, and taking a step back often feels like a loss. Ever since being confronted by Jiang Yuan, he had been harboring a deep-seated resentment, especially after Jiang Yuan ordered him to reform his business practices, which left him particularly displeased. After consulting a professional actuary to assess the financial losses he would incur from the business overhaul, Zhua Tianhang found himself unable to remain calm. He resolved to take decisive action and contacted Su Tianhao, whom he had summoned from the South City as a secret weapon. In Zhua Tianhang's mind, Su Tianhao, the wealthiest man in South City, would undoubtedly be capable of overpowering Jiang Yuan and forcing him to relent. "Director Su, I have reconsidered my stance on the individual I mentioned to you previously," Zhua Tianhang declared. Su Tianhao responded with a nonchalant "oh," and inquired, "What do you intend to do?" He had come to Xiaqing at Zhua Tianhang's invitation, ostensibly to enjoy a visit, but in reality, he was intrigued by the mention of a remarkable young man from South City whom Zhua wanted him to suppress. "I would like to request your assistance in this matter," Zhua Tianhang stated. Su Tianhao's mind was still preoccupied with thoughts of the Tang family's young mistress, and he was eager to conclude the conversation. He merely replied with an then casually asked, "What is this person's name?" "The name is Jiang Yuan," Zhua Tianhang exclaimed, filled with indignation. Su Tianhao, initially indifferent, nearly choked on his own saliva upon hearing the name Jiang Yuan. "Who? Jiang Yuan?" he hurriedly inquired. "Yes, that's him. Do you know him?" Zhua Tianhang sensed an unease creeping in. The tone of Su Tianhao suggested a familiarity with Jiang Yuan. "I'm afraid I cannot assist you with this matter." Su Tianhao replied coldly. Zhua Tianhang was left utterly dumbfounded. "Why?" he asked, unwilling to accept the situation. "Jiang Yuan is a friend of mine. You have mistaken the person," Su Tianhao said with an icy detachment. Zhua Tianhang was taken aback. What a coincidence could this possibly be? The individual whom you sought out from the South City turns out to be a close associate of Jiang Yuan. "Mr. Su, might you reconsider?" Zhua Tianhang was unwilling to accept this. Su Tianhao sighed deeply and replied slowly, "I advise you against opposing Jiang Yuan. It will not end well." Zhua Tianhang, dismissive of the warning, interpreted Su Tianhao's words as mere advocacy for Jiang Yuan. "I shall not impose on you, Mr. Su, but Jiang Yuan's arrogance is intolerable, and I shall not let this matter rest." Zhua Tianhang's tone was equally harsh. After ending the call, Su Tianhao felt a sense of unease, his thoughts inevitably drifting to Jiang Yuan. Engaging with the cunning Zhua Tianhang was no trivial matter. Promptly, he resolved to inform Jiang Yuan of the situation. However, as Su Tianhao rose, he found himself face-to-face with Aunt Tang, who had just opened the door. "My apologies, Mr. Su," Aunt Tang said, her expression tinged with regret. "A gentleman has just produced a superior piano, which may alter the outcome of our contest." Su Tianhao was taken aback, astonished that someone could present an instrument capable of surpassing his cherished Steinway. What piano did he bring forth? He inquired, a hint of reluctance in his voice. Und Tang explained, eins Crystal Piano. Upon hearing the name, Su Tianhao fell into a brief silence. As the wealthiest man in South City, he was no stranger to the finer things in life. He had certainly heard of the renowned Heinz piano, but the difficulty of acquiring such an exquisite instrument was nothing short of formidable. Aside from the affluent families in the capital, he could scarcely fathom who else might possess such a piano. Unless, could it be that the one presenting this piano is Jiang Yuan? Su Tianhao could not help but ask. Aunt Tang, taken aback by the inquiry, nodded in agreement. Chapter 188. In need of a cardiologist? As Jiang Yuan exchanged glances with Aunt Tang, he ambled through the corridor with a sense of satisfaction. Under the guidance of Aunt Tang's instructed aides, he soon found himself in a uniquely exquisite room. The decor was remarkably elegant, adorned with a crystal chandelier overhead and a floor covered in a carpet edged with pure gold filigree. Even the curtains were embroidered with resplendent patterns. Under the meticulous care of the servants, the room was immaculate and pristine. The golden hue dominated the theme, and the various arrangements within the room were harmoniously coordinated, providing a soothing respite from fatigue. A delightful scent of orchids wafted through the air, invigorating the spirit and uplifting the mood. Immersed in this ambience, Jiang Yuan felt an undeniable sense of comfort while simultaneously contemplating his ambitions. The Tang family hailed from the capital, and their influence was akin to standing atop the thunderbolt spire of the Celestial Palace, towering above all. The prospect of winning the affections of Miss Tang was undeniably appealing. Jiang Yuan stroked his chin, envisioning the sense of accomplishment that would accompany such a conquest. A star of Tang Qinshin's caliber, akin to a top-tier celebrity, could easily find admirers flocking to her on the streets, each claiming to be her fan. If one were to inquire about becoming Tang Qinshin's boyfriend, it would not be surprising if 9 out of 10 men expressed their willingness, leaving only one who would surely be a woman. The thought of capturing the heart of such an enviable beauty, coveted by countless men, was tantalizing and promised a profound sense of achievement. Regarding the idea of leveraging Tang Qinshin's influence to deal with Zhuo Tianheng, Jiang Yuan was indifferent. He had no desire to rely on a woman's strength. Who was he? He did not need to depend on a woman. In his presence, no wealthy matron, boss, or chairman would be of any use. Confronting wolves and tigers, he had his own means. After resting momentarily in the room, he gradually acclimated to the fragrant aroma of orchids. He gently wrinkled his nose, greedily inhaling the scent, feeling as though he had transcended into another realm. Suddenly, the door to the room opened silently. Yet, Jiang Yuan remained entranced by the exquisite fragrance, momentarily lost in thought. Just then, a soft and melodious voice broke through his reverie. Is it pleasant? This is a fragrance I specially brought from home. A jolt surged through Jiang Yuan's heart. His immediate reaction was to marvel at how enchanting the voice was. Aunt Tang's smoky tones already carried a hint of sensuality, irresistible to those with slightly wavering resolve. The voice now gracing his ears bore a resemblance to Aunt Tang's, but amplified the allure to an intoxicating degree, exuding an almost overwhelming 9-part seduction. With merely a single sentence, Jiang Yuan felt his very bones weaken. As he turned to look, his mind erupted in a chaotic blaze, akin to a fire igniting after an explosion. A maiden, her skin akin to jade, stood gracefully behind him. Her features bore a striking resemblance to Aunt Tang, both epitomizing the essence of unparalleled beauty. Yet, there was a distinct air of pride and confidence about her, markedly pronounced. This confidence, bordering on arrogance, added an alluring charm to her presence. Even Jiang Yuan, who was well-versed in the realm of beauty, found himself momentarily captivated. This young lady exuded a beguiling allure, her expression harmonizing beautifully with her charm, radiating an astonishing magnetism. In his heart, Jiang Yuan mused on her striking beauty. Although he had previously encountered Tang Qinshin's visage through various media, the disparity between the two-dimensional representation and the three-dimensional reality was stark. Some individuals simply do not photograph well. What one perceives through a screen may only be a fraction of their true allure. It was only upon witnessing Tang Qinshin in person that Jiang Yuan comprehended this notion profoundly. Her beauty was ethereal, enchanting like a dream, a sensation utterly unattainable through mere pixels. The impact was overwhelming when he stood before her. However, Jiang Yuan's maturity and composure kept him grounded. He approached her with polite conversation, remarking, "Miss Tang, Your taste aligns closely with mine. I too hold great appreciation for this fragrance. Tang Qianxin appeared slightly taken aback. Most men, upon encountering her beauty, often found themselves at a loss for words, some even stammering or blushing with embarrassment. Yet, Jiang Yuan's demeanor exceeded her expectations. His eloquence and appropriateness of speech revealed no signs of being influenced by her presence, surpassing many of his peers in her eyes. Moreover, Jiang Yuan was no stranger to the world. Since his arrival in Xiqing, he had encountered numerous beauties, Gu Jiehua, Gu Jianing, Lu Shishir, and Ouyang Ru, each a paragon of beauty. His resistance to allure had been thoroughly fortified, allowing him to maintain his composure. The art of courting demands audacity, meticulousness, and a thick skin. Jiang Yuan was confident in his boldness, and, upon meeting Miss Tang, he had been discreetly observing her. After a moment of contemplation, he inquired, "Miss Tang, the scent of orchids is said to have a calming effect. Might you be experiencing some troubling matters recently?" Tang Qianxin regarded him with surprise. "A relative of mine is facing health issues, and we have consulted several international experts, yet the prognosis remains grim." Jiang Yuan's heart stirred with concern. Tentatively, he asked, "What sort of ailment does she have?" "It pertains to her heart," she replied. Chapter 189. I'm acquainted with a medical expert as Tang Qianxin spoke of this matter. A flicker of subtle melancholy illuminated her eyes. She shared a striking resemblance in character with her cousin, and their close bond was forged through familial ties. Growing up together, their affection for one another ran deep. Though not sisters by blood, they were nearly indistinguishable. Tragically, her cousin suffered from a congenital heart condition, rendering her health quite frail, with hospital stays becoming a frequent occurrence. In recent years, her cousin's condition had deteriorated further, rendering her incapable of even basic self-care. The family had arranged for her to take a leave of absence from school, dedicating themselves to seeking renowned physicians for her treatment. However, despite consultations with several esteemed medical experts, all had shaken their heads in despair, indicating their inability to assist. Miss Tang was deeply concerned for her cousin's health, and as time passed, her anxiety inevitably grew. To alleviate her worries, she had taken to using orchid-scented perfume, which helped to calm her spirit. "Do you require a cardiologist?" Jiang Yuan pondered. Just days prior, the father of the Gu sisters, Gu Jiani and Gu Jiehua, had been in critical condition. Fortunately, they had a close friend who was a specialist in cardiology who had traveled from afar to provide treatment. This esteemed expert was known as Master Chun. According to the Gu sisters, Master Chun was internationally recognized for his prowess, though he was known to be a reclusive figure, often elusive. Upon learning of Master Chen's arrival, Zhuo Tianheng had promptly dispatched someone to extend an invitation. It was this matter that had entangled Jiang Yuan with Zhuo Tianheng's associates. Remarkably, under Master Chen's skilled care, the Gu sisters' father's previously precarious condition had begun to improve, almost miraculously, following a critical surgery that had saved his life. Indeed, Master Chen's medical expertise was nothing short of extraordinary. Jiang Yuan mused whether Master Chen still remained in Xiqing. If he had not departed, it would be an opportune moment to secure a favor from Miss Tang. Typically, after surgery, patients underwent a period of post-operative observation. Since the Gu sisters' father was a dear friend of Master Chun, it was likely that he would not leave immediately, thus not missing this crucial observation period. Introducing Master Chun to Miss Tang would indeed be a delightful exchange of goodwill. Jiang Yuan was acutely aware that the capital city was an enigmatic and shadowy forest for him. The world was vast, perpetually teeming with wealth and boundless opportunities. If he could manage to have the illustrious Tang family of the capital indebted to him, it would undoubtedly be a remarkable achievement. With this thought in mind, Jiang Yuan spoke, "Miss Tang, I happen to know a specialist in cardiology who may be able to assist you." Upon hearing this, Tang Qianxin chuckled lightly, not taking his words to heart. "Thank you," she replied, her tone suggesting she regarded his statement merely as a common courtesy. It was a familiar refrain. Nearly every young man, upon learning of her cousin's plight, would hastily proclaim their acquaintance with a remarkable doctor. Tang Qianxin had always been the most beautiful girl among her peers, which naturally attracted numerous admirers. Consequently, at a tender age, she had become adept at discerning the intentions of many boys. In her eyes, when most boys mentioned introducing a doctor to treat her cousin, it was merely an attempt to cultivate an image of being caring and kind-hearted. As for the actual efficacy, well, it was laughable. The Tang family had already sought out renowned physicians and consulted the majority of medical experts regarding her cousin's condition, yet to no avail. Not a single expert had been able to confidently promise a cure for her cousin's heart ailment. To suggest that one could easily summon an effective physician Spare her the charade. Tang Qinshin was utterly weary of such tactics. However, considering Jiang Yuan's good intentions, she felt compelled to inquire further. What is the name of this doctor? Jiang Yuan struggled to recall the true name of Master Chun, only remembering that Gu Jianing had vaguely mentioned it a few times. It seemed to be Chun Kang Hung. Chun Kang Hung, Jiang Yuan stated. Upon hearing the name Chun Kang Hung, Tang Qinshin's eyes widened in astonishment. Chun Kang Hung, are you referring to that Master Chun? She exclaimed. Given her concern for her cousin's health, she had memorized the names of prominent cardiology experts, both domestically and internationally, and the name of Master Chun was already etched in her mind. He was a top-tier international medical expert, a frequent contributor to esteemed medical journals such as Science, Nature, The Lancet, and JCC. His groundbreaking achievements had shaken the very foundations of the medical field, setting records for international medical accomplishments in recent years. Tang Qinshin had long desired to enlist the expertise of this international specialist, Master Chun, to diagnose her cousin. Unfortunately, Master Chun possessed an eccentric temperament, eschewing fame and fortune for a life devoted to medical research. Even when offered exorbitant invitations by Zhuo Tianhong's secretary, he remained unmoved, famously stating that virtue could not be purchased with money. For years, he had retreated from public life, dedicating himself to his research, while the global medical community endeavored to keep his whereabouts concealed for the greater good. As a result, even the Tang family was oblivious to his location. Yet now, Jiang Yuan claimed to know this elusive Master Chun. Tang Qinshin found it hard to believe. Is that truly the case? Jiang Yuan nodded and then took out his phone to contact the Gu sisters, inquiring about Master Chun. As expected, due to her father's postoperative observation period, Master Chun was still in Xiamen. Please help me get in touch with Master Chun. I would like him to assist in treating someone, Jiang Yuan instructed. On the other end of the line, the Gu sisters promptly agreed. After all, had it not been for Jiang Yuan that day, Master Chun would likely have been taken away by Zhuo Tianhong's men. To their father, Jiang Yuan is a life-saving benefactor, and their father is a close friend of Master Chun. With such a connection, they are essentially all good friends. Through their interactions over the past few days, the Gu sisters have also come to understand that Master Chun possesses commendable character and is unlikely to refuse a request. Rest assured, boss, Master Chun will agree to assist you. He holds you in high regard. Jiang Yuan received this affirmation and promptly conveyed the news to Tang Qinshin. Master Chun is entirely capable of stepping forward to treat her cousin. Upon hearing this delightful news, Tang Qinshin was immediately filled with joy, gently covering her mouth in astonishment, her eyes shimmering with excitement. Chapter 190. The Goddess's Exquisite Collection. Jiang Yuan, I never expected that our first meeting would bring me such immense joy. Tang Qinshin expressed with gratitude in her eyes. Her cousin endured the torment of illness day and night, suffering greatly. Tang Qinshin had always kept this in mind, feeling the pain deep within her heart. However, she had not anticipated that Jiang Yuan, a newcomer, would deliver such remarkable news. With the esteemed cardiologist Chun Kang Hung at hand, even if her cousin's illness could not be fully cured, her suffering could be significantly alleviated. This was undoubtedly a glimmer of hope and light. Jiang Yuan smiled politely, maintaining a humble demeanor. This is merely a small effort on my part. Miss Tang need not take it to heart. It would be hard not to take it to heart, especially considering the immense help provided to her sister. Tang Qinshin immediately responded with a smile. Jiang Yuan, the true essence of today's gathering does not reside here, and I only intend to invite one person. The true party? Jiang Yuan's heart skipped a beat. In Miss Tang's eyes, the illustrious figures of Xiamen were merely embellishments. It seemed that apart from Jiang Yuan, everyone else present was deemed inconsequential. She appeared to be seeking a diversion, but unexpectedly encountered someone as intriguing as Jiang Yuan, who not only presented a legendary Heinz crystal piano, but also brought hope for her ailing cousin's recovery. Could it be that the real engagement was yet to unfold? Jiang Yuan felt a flicker of anticipation within him. Meanwhile, Tang Qinshin smiled sweetly, took Jiang Yuan's hand, and led him out of the room. They soon entered the elevator. Jiang Yuan, what do you believe has been the most sought-after and consistently profitable everyday item within our circle over the past decade? Tang Qinshin posed a playful riddle, her mischievous spirit evident as she tested Jiang Yuan. In response to her inquiry, Jiang Yuan raised an eyebrow and asked with a smile, if I answer correctly, what reward awaits me? Tang Qinshin straightened her back and confidently declared, of course. I assure you, as a Tang family heiress, if you answer correctly, I will present you with one of my personal treasures, and you may choose freely. Ah, It seems I have ignited this young lady's competitive spirit, judging by her words. The reward appears quite generous. However, Tang Qinshin provocatively cast a glance at Jiang Yuan and added, "But if you answer incorrectly, you shall face a penalty." A penalty? Jiang Yuan thought playfully, envisioning a rather unorthodox consequence. However, he kept such thoughts to himself. "And what might my penalty be?" he inquired. Tang Qinshin scrunched her adorable little nose and replied, "I can't think of one at the moment, so consider it a debt you owe me. You must agree to one condition." "Oh, how intriguing. Am I destined to lose?" Without hesitation, Jiang Yuan responded, "Red wine." The reasoning behind his answer was simple. It was, after all, the most frequently received gift for him. During the recent ancestral worship conference in Qinghe Township, the esteemed guests from Nancheng presented an array of gifts, among which the most abundant were various types of red wine. Upon hearing Jiang Yuan's response, Tang Qinshin let out a soft, discontented hum, acknowledging his fortune. It seemed she was pleased with his answer. One could only wonder what this illustrious Miss Tang would bestow upon him. Surely, someone of her stature would not be stingy with her gifts. Jiang Yuan was not particularly concerned with the monetary value of the present. Rather, it was the significance of the gift bestowed by Tang Qinshin that mattered most. It signified his formal connection to the Tang family, promising an abundance of future benefits. Yet, at that moment, Jiang Yuan noticed something peculiar. Since he and Tang Qinshin entered the elevator, it had been descending continuously. The floor indicators slid from 12, 11, 10, 9, down to F1, F2, F1 representing the first basement level, and F2 the second. However, Tang Qinshin had input a special command, causing the elevator to unexpectedly halt at the third basement level. Indeed, for nearly a decade, red wine had been the most sought-after daily commodity in this area, and I possess my own private collection cellar, Tang Qinshin remarked with a hint of pride. As the elevator doors slowly parted, Jiang Yuan was greeted by a grand and opulent subterranean realm. This was not merely a wine cellar. It resembled a sanctuary dedicated to the finest vintages. Luxurious redwood racks displayed an astonishing array of thousands of distinguished wines, with a sheer volume of red wine stretching beyond his line of sight. It was as if he had stepped into a veritable realm of wine, boasting a staggering collection of 400,000 bottles, arguably the largest wine cellar in the world. "This Venus Hotel is, in fact, my private hotel," Tang Qinshin continued. "I have transformed the third basement level into my personal wine cellar. I only invite true friends here to savor the wine and enjoy my performances. Others simply lack the privilege." Jiang Yuan marveled at the vastness of this collection, realizing that should he attempt to consume it all, it would take him several lifetimes to do so. However, the most captivating feature in the center of the room was a magnificent silver piano. Named Silver Vienna, this piano was Tang Qinshin's most cherished instrument, intentionally placed within her esteemed collection. The true celebration commenced as Tang Qinshin gracefully approached the Silver Vienna, taking her seat. Her fingers, delicate and slender as if crafted from tofu, exuded an artistic aura. As her nimble hands danced across the piano keys, it was as if mischievous sprites were casting spells. Jiang Yuan was entranced by the enchanting melodies that filled his mind, as if an invisible hand had deftly plucked at his heartstrings. The harmonies were exquisite, and the sound was utterly captivating. A simple melody, yet it evokes a fluid texture in its performance. Jiang Yuan's heart softened once more. The previous time was due to Miss Tang's beauty. This time, it was attributed to her exceptional talent. Moreover, this talent is uniquely her own. The name of this piano piece is Wedding in a Dream. Although Jiang Yuan lacks knowledge of musical theory, as an outsider, he could still perceive its extraordinary charm, inwardly exclaiming in admiration. Meanwhile, Tang Qinshin, while performing for Jiang Yuan, cheerfully remarked, "You may select any bottle of red wine from this private cellar as a gift from me to you." Chapter 191. Miss Sun holds great admiration for Jiang Yuan to allow oneself the freedom to select any bottle of red wine. Jiang Yuan felt a subtle stir within. Earlier in the elevator, she had already posed a question to assess him, inquiring about the most popular daily necessities within their circle over the past decade. By mere chance, he had answered correctly, thanks to the recent ancestral worship ceremony, red wine. Now, Miss Tang unexpectedly invited him to choose from a plethora of red wines. This was intriguing. If she genuinely wished to present a gift of wine, why not simply hand him a suitable bottle directly? Clearly, Miss Tang intended to evaluate his discernment. She wanted to see if he could select a commendable vintage from the vast sea of renowned wines. Jiang Yuan slightly raised his head, surveying the expansive wine collection room. A myriad of red wines was artfully arranged on the shelves, each vying for attention. Following the recent ancestral ceremony, Jiang Yuan had tasted a considerable variety of red wines and acquired some experience in distinguishing between them. Generally speaking, red wines are simply categorized into 4 tiers. Tier 4 wines, the most ordinary table wines, are akin to unrefined silver, possessing a somewhat lackluster quality. Tier 3 wines originate from common regions. These are the types typically served in most restaurants. Tier 2 wines come from esteemed regions and are favored by those with modest means. Tier 1 wines, however, are exclusive to certain exceptional terroirs. Their worth incomparable to the first 3 tiers, representing masterful craftsmanship. As the saying goes, 7 parts ingredients and 3 parts crafting. The quality of red wine varies dramatically from different estates. Renowned vineyards such as Ch. Lafite, Ch. Latour, Ch. Margaux, and Ch. Mouton Rothschild are all esteemed producers of fine wines. However, Jiang Yuan was not a professional sommelier. His knowledge stemmed merely from casual conversations around the dining table. Should he be tasked with selecting a wine of remarkable value from such an extensive collection, it would undoubtedly prove to be a formidable challenge. As he glanced around, a particular bottle of red wine caught his eye, causing him to feel a spark of interest. This bottle appeared somewhat extraordinary, Jiang Yuan thought to himself. He crouched down and picked up a seemingly inferior bottle of red wine. The exterior of the bottle was encrusted with a thick layer of mold and dust, the label nearly obliterated. Yet, Jiang Yuan felt an instinctive pull, despite its battered state. The mere fact that this bottle resided in the collection room implied it was far from ordinary. Meanwhile, Tang Qinshin was engrossed in playing a piano piece. When her peripheral vision caught sight of the bottle Jiang Yuan held, a barely perceptible smile graced her lips. Are you truly intent on selecting that bottle? Once chosen, there shall be no alteration. You have but one opportunity. Listening to Tang Qinshin's words, Jiang Yuan gently caressed the bottle once more, chuckling softly and shaking his head. There was ample time. He could afford to look around a bit longer before making a decision. At that moment, Jiang Yuan's phone began to ring. However, it was not a phone call, but rather a text message. The message was sent by Su Tianhao. He was aware that Jiang Yuan was preoccupied with a romantic engagement. Yet he harbored concerns regarding Zhou Tianhang's situation. Thus, he sent Jiang Yuan a brief message, advising him to exercise caution in relation to Zhou Tianhang and their entangled affairs. Upon reading the message, a warm current surged within Jiang Yuan's heart. Although he had intercepted Su Tianhao's intentions, he felt no resentment, appreciating the reminder from him. The character of this old rascal was indeed commendable. In truth, Su Tianhao regarded Jiang Yuan much like a son-in-law. Having long perceived his daughter Su Wanting's unusual feelings towards Jiang Yuan, his attendance at the gathering was merely a means to establish connections with the Tang family of the capital. Should Jiang Yuan successfully connect with the Tang family, the outcome would be equally beneficial. After all, they were all friends, and the bond with Su Wanting only strengthened their relationship. Furthermore, the agreement was to rely on one's own capabilities. If Jiang Yuan could present a Heinz piano, it was indeed a testament to his own merit. Thus, while Su Tianhao felt a slight annoyance at Jiang Yuan's intervention, he was not overly perturbed. In contrast, the gravity of the situation was markedly different. He was acutely aware of Zhou Tianhang's narrow-mindedness and vindictive nature, a person who would not easily let grievances go unpunished. Although Su Tianhao had refused to assist Zhou Tianhang, he knew that once Jiang Yuan had crossed paths with Zhou Tianhang, the latter would not rest until he exacted revenge. It is better to offend a gentleman than to provoke a petty person. While one can evade a direct assault, the hidden daggers are far more treacherous. Hence, he had cautioned Jiang Yuan to remain vigilant. In fact, Zhou Tianhang had indeed been devising a sinister plan to strike a decisive blow against Jiang Yuan. The crux of his strategy hinged upon securing assistance from the Sun family of the capital. Zhou Tianhang had a cousin, Zhou Yiming, who served the Sun family as an aide. Recently, Zhou Yiming had returned briefly to Xiaqing. After Su Tianhao declined to offer assistance, Zhou Tianhang resolved to enlist his cousin's aid. Initially, Zhou Tianhang had adhered to the principle of not overexerting himself, believing it unnecessary for his cousin to intervene. He thought that merely having Su Tianhao step in would suffice. However, Zhou Yiming was no ordinary individual. He held a mid-level management position within the Sun Group, a family enterprise of significant stature. Although he could not truly join the core team due to his surname within the Sun Group, he was undeniably the foremost outsider. Having such a formidable cousin was akin to having a champion to elevate his standing. Jiang Yuan was but a mere paper figure, easily punctured by the combined efforts of the two brothers. With confidence radiating from his demeanor, Zhuge Tianheng dialed his cousin Zhui Yiming. Unbeknownst to him, as he relayed the details of his predicament to his cousin, events would soon take an unexpected turn. However, the reply he received from his cousin was a direct refusal. "Brother, our young lady has met Jiang Yuan once and has developed a certain interest in him. It would be best not to provoke him. I advise you to refrain from further entanglement." Upon hearing these words, Zhuge Tianheng was immediately perplexed. Young lady? Is it not only Sun Yunj from the Sun family? To his astonishment, she seemed to hold Jiang Yuan in some regard. Reluctantly, Zhuge Tianheng pressed on. Is there truly no way? His cousin, Zhui Yiming, shook his head with a wry smile. We cannot afford to provoke Jiang Yuan. Our young lady conducted a brief investigation and discovered that he is far from ordinary. As your relative, I must advise you once more. It is best to let this matter lie. Zhuge Tianheng fell silent, grappling with the implications. While Su Tianhao had warned him against Jiang Yuan, it was disconcerting that even his formidable cousin urged him to avoid direct confrontation. Thus, he found himself ensnared in a web of conflict. His expression fluctuated, his mind wrestling with the situation for what felt like an eternity. Ultimately, he resigned himself with a deep sigh, conceding, "Very well, I shall make some concessions." He promptly instructed his subordinates to draft a new contract, making significant compromises. The news of Zhuge Tianheng's modifications to the contract spread like wildfire. Particularly, Ouyang Ru's parents were overjoyed upon hearing the announcement, but were also left puzzled. What could have prompted Zhuge Tianheng to relent? This question lingered unanswered in the air. Yet, Ouyang's parents simultaneously recalled Jiang Yuan's bold proclamation from that day, wherein he confidently declared that Zhuge Tianheng was merely a minor player, and he would handle the situation. Could Zhuge Tianheng's willingness to compromise be the result of Jiang Yuan's influence? Jiang Yuan had spoken with such conviction, his tone resolute. Although Ouyang's parents had not taken his words to heart at the time, today they found it hard to dismiss the possibility. Surely, Jiang Yuan could not possess such power. If he did, he would be akin to those prominent families of the capital. Chapter 192. A beautiful woman offers wine. Jiang Yuan toyed with a bottle of red wine, weathered and aged, before returning it to the rack. This particular bottle, however, held significant value. It was crafted by the Misandra Winery in 1775, making it one of the oldest red wines from the estate. Despite the relentless passage of time leaving its mark, this wine retained its esteemed collectible worth. Yet, amidst Tang Chunxin's vast collection, it was merely a ripple in an ocean of fine vintages. After setting the bottle down, Jiang Yuan walked directly to the designated Lafite section. It is well known that the 1982 Lafite is synonymous with fine wine in the eyes of the average connoisseur. The term Lafite refers to the red wines produced by the illustrious Lafite estate, which serves as a hallmark of assurance. As one of the world's most expensive red wine producers, the wine racks here were indeed impressive. One bottle, adorned with a striking blue hue, immediately captured Jiang Yuan's attention. Regrettably, upon closer inspection, he discovered it was empty. This bottle, the oldest Lafite Ch-To wine, boasted over 2 centuries of history. While Tang Chunxin played, she explained, regrettably, as an exhibition piece under the spotlight, the ancient cork quickly dried and fell into the bottle, leading to the swift evaporation of its contents. I merely keep the bottle as a memento. Jiang Yuan lamented the loss of such exquisite wine, which had never been tasted. He continued his search, and soon found another bottle, a century-old Lafite Ch-To red wine, yet it lacked the allure of the first. After a thorough examination of the Lafite rack, he found no extraordinary bottles. He recalled that during the last gathering, the affluent merchants from South City had mentioned the 4 prestigious first-growth estates: Ch-To Oatbrian, Ch-To Margaux, Ch-To Latour, and Ch-To Lafite. However, even with this knowledge, searching through the vast sea of red wines felt akin to finding a needle in a haystack. Even with his tenacious spirit, Jiang Yuan couldn't help but let out a slight sigh. As he lowered his gaze, he discovered a uniquely shaped bottle, slightly wider than typical red wines, which instantly piqued his interest. Most notably, its label was quite distinctive. Typically, a wine label represents the emblem of a vineyard. Knowledgeable individuals, upon seeing an ancient vineyard label, can almost savor the essence of history. Yet, there are always exceptions. One wine brand diverged from convention, opting for a simple yet bold design with a white background and black lettering. Jiang Yuan recalled snippets of conversation he had overheard earlier and pondered thoughtfully. The winery bearing this label appears to be extraordinary, Perhaps one should select this bottle of wine and test their luck. A dead horse is treated as a live one. Jiang Yuan indeed suffers from a bit of indecision. Faced with an overwhelming abundance of red wines, akin to mountains and seas, he ultimately opts to rely on his intuition, as well as the hints from some individuals at past ancestral worship banquets. However, when he approached Miss Tang with a bottle of red wine that possessed a somewhat peculiar shape, her eyes instantly sparkled with interest. "Do you recognize this bottle?" she inquired. Jiang Yuan shook his head and candidly replied, "I chose it at random." In response to Jiang Yuan's candid demeanor, Miss Tang momentarily appeared taken aback, then covered her mouth and chuckled softly. "You are quite genuine. I've always been so." Subsequently, Tang Qinshin smiled and began to introduce the red wine. This uniquely shaped wine, with its simple yet commanding label, is known as Roman y Conti. It is unanimously regarded by connoisseurs as the crown jewel of red wines. In the hearts of all wine enthusiasts, it undoubtedly stands as a timeless legend. The aroma of Roman y Conti is reminiscent of a wilting rose, enchanting with its intoxicating fragrance. Even several minutes after being poured into a glass, it remains delightful, leaving a lingering taste on the palate. Moreover, the bottle of Roman y Conti that Miss Tang has collected is the oldest vintage in her possession to date. If it were to be auctioned externally, it would fetch an astronomical price. Furthermore, such a venerable vintage of Roman y Conti could only be obtained by someone of Miss Tang's stature in the capital's elite circles. Securing this bottle is tantamount to declaring one's close association with the Tang family's illustrious lineage. Miss Tang hosted this private gathering and is not averse to bestowing this bottle as a gift. While extraordinary horses may be plentiful, true talent is rare. Great riches can be acquired, yet finding a kindred spirit is a challenge. She devised numerous trials, motivated by her lifelong passions for the piano and wine. Should someone resonate with her interests, she would willingly acknowledge this friendship. "Jiang Yuan, according to our agreement, let this bottle of Roman y Conti be my gift to you," Tang Qinshin said with a smile. Holding the bottle of wine, Jiang Yuan felt a clarity in his heart. He understood that he had successfully passed the test set forth by Miss Tang. Chapter 193, Fine Wine. "I too have," as the final notes of the wedding in the dream resonated through the air, Tang Qinshin gracefully rose to her feet, revealing her exquisite figure. She was adorned in a light yellow gown that accentuated her smooth and alluring calves. Her delicate visage was enhanced by a subtle layer of makeup, while her hair appeared slightly tousled. As the saying goes, true beauty lies in the bone rather than the skin. Miss Tang possessed a perfectly balanced bone structure, epitomizing the pinnacle of elegance. She bestowed a gentle smile upon Jiang Yuan, who, in that fleeting moment, felt as though he were witnessing the dawn breaking over the horizon. The first rays of sunlight casting a breathtaking glow. Clap, clap, clap. Jiang Yuan, unable to contain his admiration, brought his hands together in applause, not only for her remarkable piano performance, but also for Miss Tang, whose beauty could only be described as captivating. A thought crossed his mind. He must devise a strategy to win her over. Jiang Yuan felt a stir of ambition. He knew that boldness, keen observation, and a thick skin were essential, yet it all hinged on his own audacity. Just as he was lost in thoughts of clever maneuvers, Tang Qinshin's phone rang softly. She glanced at her device and noticed it was her close friend calling. An apologetic expression crossed her refined face as she politely nodded to Jiang Yuan before turning away to answer the call. He waved dismissively, signaling that she need not worry. Yet, his keen eyes discerned something unusual about her phone. It was then that Jiang Yuan observed the uniqueness of her device, starkly contrasting with his own. His phone, a rather common iPhone 12 Pro Max, was a popular choice available on the market. In contrast, Miss Tang's phone was a striking piece, resembling a short, curved dagger, exuding a sense of cool sophistication. Upon closer inspection, he noted the back was crafted from luxurious crocodile leather, while the front boasted a case adorned with no less than 120 carats of diamonds. This phone was undeniably exquisite, far surpassing his own in opulence. A thought sparked within Jiang Yuan. He too desired an upgrade, as his current device felt rather lackluster. The iPhone 12 Pro Max, despite its market value of around 10,000 yuan, was merely the latest and most functional option available. Should he wish, he could easily attract some vanity-driven university students with similar phones, effortlessly winning their affections. However, having tasted the finer things in life, Jiang Yuan found such women utterly unappealing. The stunning culinary goddesses he had gathered in Dongshan Villa far eclipsed those mere trinkets. Moreover, during this trip to Xia City, The Gu sisters and the Ouyang sisters had already refined his taste to an exceptional degree. Jiang Yuan had contemplated changing his phone for quite some time, though it was said that even the wealthiest tycoon in Longwis still used an iPhone 8 Plus from 3 years prior. It seems that a mobile phone is merely a communication tool, not something worthy of deep thought. Thus, Jiang Yuan had long postponed the idea of changing his phone. However, his perspective has now shifted. As the saying goes, a lavish sedan chair requires the strength of many bears. When others perceive your substantial foundation, they are more inclined to collaborate with you. Observing Miss Tang's opulent phone, Jiang Yuan couldn't help but entertain the notion of acquiring a remarkable device himself. Miss Tang Qinxin's expression while on the phone was one of joy, punctuated by occasional bursts of melodious laughter, suggesting a delightful conversation with her close friend. Yet, seemingly unwilling to be overly dismissive towards Jiang Yuan, she spoke in a slightly hurried whisper before concluding the call. She answered the phone swiftly, and though engaged in private matters, her attention was subtly directed towards Jiang Yuan. "You seem quite interested in my phone," Tang Qinxin remarked with a smile. Her keen perception had detected Jiang Yuan's gaze inadvertently drifting towards her device. Indeed, Jiang Yuan responded with a nod. Rather than denying it for the sake of pride, he chose to acknowledge it openly. Tang Qinxin's eyes gleamed playfully, and a mischievous thought took root in her mind. With her delicate finger raised, she said, "Actually, I know a designer named Zhou in Xiamen. I once commissioned him to create a prototype phone adorned with 600 white diamonds, a sapphire glass screen, and crafted from 135 grams of 24K gold. If I wish, I can have the finished product at any time." Jiang Yuan, far from being a fool, grasped her intention after hearing her words. Yet, in order to play along, he feigned ignorance and inquired, "Does Miss Tang intend to gift it to me for free?" "Dream on," Tang Qinxin chuckled, placing her hands on her hips. "While I am indifferent to money, the opportunity for Zhou to design a phone is exceedingly rare, even for me. Ah, it seems that Zhou's prestige outweighs a fortune." However, Tang Qinxin's lips pursed slightly, revealing a hint of alluring mischief. "If you're willing to wager with me, I would gladly use that prototype from Zhou as a stake." Jiang Yuan felt a flicker of intrigue. He had anticipated that Tang Qinxin would present another challenge to test him. To his surprise, while it was indeed a challenge, it also involved a wager. Since Miss Tang was putting something on the line, he too would need to offer a corresponding stake. "Very well, I accept your challenge," Jiang Yuan stated decisively. His swift agreement momentarily stunned Tang Qinxin. "All right, quite resolute and a true man. I admire you. But what shall your stake be?" After a moment's contemplation, Jiang Yuan recalled some items he had obtained from his previous 10 consecutive draws that might satisfy her. He glanced around the expansive wine collection room and began to speak slowly. "As for the wager, I have indeed amassed a collection of fine spirits. I wonder if they might catch Miss Tang's discerning eye?" Upon hearing Jiang Yuan's words, Tang Qinxin's eyes sparkled with intrigue. When it comes to interests, her passion for wine rivals her enthusiasm for the piano. "Do share your finest selections without delay," Tang Qinxin urged, her eagerness palpable as she spoke to Jiang Yuan. With a slight smile, Jiang Yuan replied, "Laos Verres Vodka. Have you ever heard of it, Miss Tang?" At the mention of this name, Tang Qinxin's pupils dilated slightly. "Are you serious? You truly possess Laos Verres?" Her voice rose with excitement. "That vodka is already out of print. I have scoured 5 countries believed to be its origin, yet found nothing. How did you manage to acquire a bottle?" Chapter 194. The bet with the goddess. Jiang Yuan observed her reaction, which seemed rather exaggerated, and couldn't help but retort, "Is this wine truly that remarkable?" Miss Tang's astonishment rendered her momentarily speechless as she pointed at Jiang Yuan in disbelief, exclaiming, "Are you genuinely unaware or merely pretending? Have you never heard of the Laos Verres Group? It is the most renowned luxury wine conglomerate in the world." Tang Qinxin had an immense passion for exquisite wines. Her knowledge about fine wines was extensive and exhaustive. The Laos Verres vodka, in particular, was a commemorative piece for their anniversary, distilled using what was claimed to be the world's finest water and the highest quality wheat, with only 3 bottles in existence. The bottle contained a mere 5 liters of the purest spirit, its potency deemed unparalleled. "Is what you possess truly Laos Verres vodka? Could it merely be a counterfeit?" Miss Tang's doubt was not directed at Jiang Yuan himself, but rather at the immense reputation of this prestigious spirit. There were many charlatans in society who specialized in forging such esteemed wines to deceive the unsuspecting. These counterfeiters were often audacious and cunning. Even with the esteemed name of the Tang family backing her, Tang Qinxin had nearly fallen victim to these frauds herself. Seeing that Jiang Yuan appeared somewhat naive to the world of fine wines, Miss Tang formed a rather hasty conclusion. Jiang Yuan must have been duped. After all, how could such a prestigious spirit like Laos Verres vodka end up in the hands of an amateur? Even someone with a wealth of knowledge in authenticating wines could still be misled, let alone an outsider. Moreover, if Jiang Yuan's claims were indeed true and he possessed a bottle of Laos Verres vodka, it would wound Tang Qinshin's pride deeply. She had utilized the resources of the Tang family, along with her own insight and expertise, in a futile search across 5 countries for exceptional wine, only to discover that it lay in the hands of Jiang Yuan. This was indeed a bitter pill to swallow. In response to her skepticism, Jiang Yuan smiled. He promptly made a call, instructing Yao Wenwen to bring the prized wine stored at the Yuan Wang residence. As for the previously promised Heinz piano, it would likely arrive within the day, albeit not as swiftly. It seemed they would have to wait a little longer. Tang Qinshin then returned to the silver Viennese piano, continuing to play a piece for Jiang Yuan. The current composition was titled A Maiden's Prayer. However, her heart was troubled, causing her fingers to falter and the tempo to slow. Deep within, she felt a mix of suspicion and unease. Although she firmly believed that Jiang Yuan had been deceived and that the Laos Verres vodka was most likely a fake, there lingered an unsettling thought. If Jiang Yuan truly possessed such a distinguished spirit, it would imply that his prowess in wine collection surpassed her own. As a woman of considerable pride, Miss Tang found it challenging to accept this possibility. All she could do was fervently hope that Jiang Yuan had indeed been misled. Under Jiang Yuan's command, Yao Wenwen moved with remarkable speed. A beautifully crafted gift box was soon delivered into Jiang Yuan's hands. Within this exquisite box lay a bottle of fine vodka. "I brought the wager. Now inspect the goods," Jiang Yuan remarked with a smile. Bang, bang, bang. Miss Tang could almost hear the cadence of her own heartbeat. Observing Jiang Yuan's unwavering confidence and composure, she felt a strong premonition. Could it be that Jiang Yuan was indeed assured of the authenticity of this Laos Verres vodka? She immediately began a meticulous examination. Opening the gift box, she extracted the Laos Verres vodka, its exterior lavishly adorned with a staggering 3,000 diamonds. Just from the quality of these diamonds, Miss Tang was almost certain that this bottle was genuine. But what about the liquor inside? Her heart raced even faster. Gently shaking the bottle, she watched the liquid gold flow within, scrutinizing it closely. Before long, she fell into a contemplative silence. Based on her extensive experience, there was no doubt that this vodka was indeed the authentic Laos Verres. This vodka was also known as billionaire's vodka, a rare treasure in the eyes of a devoted connoisseur like her. Tang Qinshin gazed deeply at Jiang Yuan, expressing her admiration. "You are quite remarkable. To procure something that even captivates me is truly impressive." Although her words were intended as praise, Jiang Yuan sensed an underlying hint of acidity in her tone. It was understandable, for Miss Tang hailed from a prestigious lineage and was a seasoned collector of fine wines. In this realm of expertise, she possessed absolute confidence. Yet, Jiang Yuan had inadvertently shattered that confidence within her strongest domain. Despite her reluctance to admit it, Tang Qinshin found herself harboring a tinge of jealousy. How could he possess such an exceptional spirit? For reasons unknown, Jiang Yuan felt a sense of quiet satisfaction upon witnessing Miss Tang's reaction. She resembled a petty tyrant of silver, now schooled by a far superior figure. "So, Miss Tang, what exactly do you wish to wager?" Jiang Yuan inquired with a slight smile. Initially, Miss Tang was somewhat dazed by the presence of the exquisite vodka, but upon hearing Jiang Yuan's question, she immediately lifted her head. Indeed, winning this extraordinary spirit would be the fulfillment of her dreams. "Let us compete in our drinking prowess, shall we?" Miss Tang proposed with a cunning smile. "As a man, you wouldn't refuse to match your drinking skills against me, would you?" The wager, it seemed, was to be a contest of drinking. Jiang Yuan was taken aback, yet upon reflection, it made perfect sense. After all, she had made it clear that she was an aficionado of fine wines and, naturally, had a passion for drinking. However, observing her provocative demeanor, it was evident that she had come prepared. Yet, Jiang Yuan was also well prepared. His gaze flickered slightly as he replied, "Very well, I accept your wager." Upon hearing Jiang Yuan's agreement to the bet, Miss Tang revealed a triumphant smile, a testament to her cunning strategy. "You might not know me very well, but if you lose, no tears are allowed," Tang Qinshin taunted, displaying her charming little canine teeth, resembling a playful predator poised to devour Jiang Yuan. Chapter 195. The Confession Bureau. Jiang Yuan felt a slight unease in his heart. It was not due to his ignorance of Miss Tang's capabilities. Her prowess in drinking was merely a variable. The core issue lay in the mere act of Miss Tang proposing a drinking contest. Such a notion was inherently perilous. Should she emerge victorious, he would not only forfeit a bottle of fine wine, but also find himself in a state of inebriation, utterly defenseless. This condition would render him akin to an innocent little rabbit, vulnerable and exposed. If she were to take a fancy to him, would that not present her with an impeccable opportunity? At that moment, he would be at her mercy. The thought sent shivers down his spine. A young man must learn to guard himself diligently when venturing into the world. One must not easily fall into the traps set by others. Yet, despite his growing wariness, he could not resist the allure of Miss Tang's beauty and figure. Her charm was undeniable, even if an unforeseen event were to occur. Perhaps it would merely be a fateful encounter. If blame were to be placed, it would be on this wretched fate. Jiang Yuan steeled himself, embracing a sense of bravery. Very well, I accept your challenge. Let us drink. In a fleeting moment, he even envisioned himself as the valiant assassin Jing Ke from long ago, who faced death with unwavering courage, believing only the truly brave could emerge anew from such peril. Upon hearing his agreement, Miss Tang smiled mischievously, warning him, if you lose, there shall be no tears and no retraction of your words. Her face adorned with two delightful dimples, she evoked a stirring within Jiang Yuan's heart. His fists clenched in indignation. How dare she underestimate him and provoke him repeatedly? Rising gracefully, Miss Tang glided towards the wine rack, retrieving 2 bottles of approximately 50-year-old CH To La Fight. She approached each bottle with reverence, for to her, each was a precious nectar, deserving of no waste. Jiang Yuan, you are the second person in my life to compete with me in drinking, Miss Tang declared with a smile. Even if you lose today, you should feel honored. Jiang Yuan merely responded with a non-committal neither confirming nor denying. Unexpectedly, it was Miss Tang who found herself caught off guard. As she poured a generous glass of red wine for Jiang Yuan, he did not inquire further. Unable to contain her curiosity, she asked, aren't you curious about who the first person to drink with me was? Taking the glass filled with a deep red liquid, Jiang Yuan downed it in one swift motion. Not curious. What you wish to say will be spoken, and what you do not wish to share. Even if I were to ask, you would remain silent. His words left Miss Tang feeling somewhat wounded within. She had never intended to reveal the identity of her first drinking companion. Her aim was merely to tease Jiang Yuan and pique his interest. To her surprise, Jiang Yuan remained unfazed, which left her feeling somewhat uncomfortable. In defiance, she too raised her glass and consumed the entirety of her La Fight in one go. Yet there lingers a sense of inadequacy within me. In this initial, intangible skirmish, it is evident that Miss Tang has subtly faltered. Subsequently, Jiang Yuan took the initiative, generously filling her glass with a full cup of red wine. However, just as he was about to indulge once more, Miss Tang spoke up. Drinking in silence is rather dull. Why not engage in a little game instead? Jiang Yuan found himself bewildered, unable to fathom the intentions of Miss Tang. Could it be that she harbored ulterior motives? Would she attempt to ensnare him? The thought left him in a quandary. Should he acquiesce or not? What game do you propose? Speak freely, Jiang Yuan declared. A dangerous smile danced upon Tang Qinshin's lips as she suggested. Let us play a game of confessions. We shall each reveal a secret and then drink. So this was her design all along. He had sensed that matters were not so simple. She intended to extract his secrets while ensnaring him in her web. Jiang Yuan, possessing a formidable instinct for self-preservation, quickly discerned her intentions. Yet it was too late. She had clearly come prepared. The thought of his own unblemished integrity, potentially at stake today, sent a thrill through him. Tang Qinshin filled her glass and began. My first secret is that a dear friend of mine, Sun Yunj, has undergone artificial enhancements but claims they are natural. How utterly shameless. The weight of her revelation struck Jiang Yuan, his pupils narrowing in disbelief. Surely, this must be a fabricated secret. He had recently encountered Sun Yunj at an audition, and he prided himself on his discerning eye. He had never been mistaken. Yet, this revelation cast a shadow over her unremarkable facade. How outrageous! Moreover, Jiang Yuan astutely noted a subtle implication in her words. She referred to Sun Yunj as a former good friend. Did this suggest a rift between the two? Might the power struggle between the Tang and Sun families have tainted their sisterhood? What was she attempting to convey? Jiang Yuan had no time to ponder further before he caught the fervent gaze of Tang Qinshin fixed upon him. This is quite the explosive tidbit. Should you choose to unveil this secret, You and Sun Yunj might very well find yourselves training together by tomorrow. A clarity akin to snow enveloped Jiang Yuan's mind. It was evident she was cautioning him against trivial disclosures and to refrain from carelessly revealing secrets. Pondering for a moment, he replied, "In fact, I possess a rare vintage that rivals that of Leos Verres. I believe you may find it intriguing." "Really?" Tang Qianxin's interest piqued. "What is it? Pray tell me." Her urgency was palpable. "My secret has been revealed," Jiang Yuan remarked with a smile. "However, I can offer you a small hint. It is a bottle of whiskey." "Whiskey?" At this revelation, Tang Qianxin's mind immediately began to stir with excitement. Surely, this whiskey, no less than the renowned bottle of fine liquor, must be equally celebrated. "Is it the Macallan rare cask?"